You're welcome to the class. Chago Ted. You're welcome, Kevin Azande. You're welcome. Ageda Sylvia. Welcome, Busu Kumaden.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Jiba Augustine.
Thank you, sir.
Rosemary Odu.
Yes, sir.
Teve Ralph Chokura, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. You're welcome to the class. We will be starting in a very few minutes. We're just waiting for a few others to join us. We'll give them like 2 to 3 minutes thereabout. You're welcome, Emmanuel Tete.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Unisa Ibukun John, you are welcome to the class.
Morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my brother. Desmond Tafa Teokura, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It's just 4 minutes past 10 p.m. Just wait for a very few minutes and then we'll commence our lecture in earnest. Dondu Awashima, you are welcome. Alakime Simnena, you're welcome. Welcome once again, Kem Kolano Zoman. Nathaniel Asogo, you're welcome. Jennifer Chekwa.
Thank you, sir.
Odungu.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Ivaha Odungu, you're welcome.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, Uzoman. You're welcome.
Yes, good morning, doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Doc.
His Excellency the Governor, Tiokosu, you're welcome. 5 a.m.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome, Tehi Dejimain. You're welcome.
Okay. Doc.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Richard. You're welcome, Richard. We'll be starting in a jiffy. The next 2 minutes, we're going to commence. We're waiting for others to join us so that we can commence the lecture. So far, we are 23 in a class. In a very few minutes, we're going to start and we shall commence in earnest. Thank you, distinguished student, very distinguished student, MSc, Sustainable Social Development. You are welcome to SST 804, Advanced Social Standard in Rehabilitation. The Advanced Social Standard in Rehabilitation is a two credit unit course. I'll be taking the course with Dr. G.A. Akpehe. And I remain yours, Dr. A.D. Taran. Now let's try to look at the cost overview, what is expected of us at the end. The cost overview at the end of the SST 804 Advanced Social Standard in Rehabilitation is a very interesting course, very practical course, quite an interacting, kind of an interactive course that all of you may not want to miss it. We believe that at the end of the day, we should be able to explain the concept of rehabilitation. We'll be able to explain at the end of the day what is the concept of rehabilitation based, the community-based rehabilitations. We will also be able to know, basically, and explain the social standards in rehabilitation. Then we will always look at the introduction. Rehabilitation has become one of the prerequisites. It is one of the prerequisites in achieving what we call inclusivity. Not just inclusivity, this is one of the basic course of study that has to do with creating awareness. And one of the essence of creating this awareness is basically to ensure that we improve ourselves, the standard of living. According to the statistics available globally, it is said that about 50% of the people globally, and most chunk of it in the 54 countries in developing countries, including Nigeria, it is given that about 50% of the people need rehabilitation. And the rehabilitation they are talking about here it includes what we call social rehabilitation, economic rehabilitation, physical rehabilitation, emotional rehabilitation. A lot of people with mental health and challenges abound. Where challenges abound, where there is abnormality, where there is a lot of gaps, where there is a lot of lacuna, ranging from poverty, ranging from economic disintegration, ranging from a lot of issues, the issues of disability, where a lot of people with impairment. It is important and it is very, very significant for us in the 20th century that the World Bank, the Institute of Procurement, Environmental and Social Standard, in conjunction with what we call SPEC, Sustainable Procurement, Environmental and Social Standard of the World Bank, deem that, oh, this is a gap that is lacking, that a lot of issue has been lacked, just like we talk about issues of emergency and disaster. Not much attention has been given. It is time now, the time is now. And the time is now for us to focus on rehabilitation and how we can be able to rehabilitate ourselves as an individual. We can be able to rehabilitate our various homes. We can be able to embark on what we call rehabilitation of community. Will we be able to rehabilitate our local government? We'll be able to rehabilitate our state. We'll be able to rehabilitate the nationals, and globally, our society will become a very important nozzle. Sustainable social standard in rehabilitation, we say is very crucial in Nigeria and in Africa, promoting inclusivity, accessibility, and the dignity of individuals and those with disabilities. We will be covering, we'll be doing with all of this at the end of these lectures, at the end of presentations, at the end of what we are here for this very MSc. It will be a kind of a very big bonus for those who are not here with us. They will be a practical case, and we'll be doing justice to them. Rehabilitation programs enhances what we call the quality of life of the people, and the people with disability. As we move on, we will not just be focusing on disability alone, but we will design disability, and we'll be asking individuals, we are all almost one issue. In a broader context, we look at what is disability. We look at their families, we look at how we can be able to provide health, We look at how we can education, livelihood, and then the social activities. But to take note, to put it very importantly, for us to be able to look at it, we look at rehabilitation, just like we speak of other courses like rehabilitation is multi-sectoral, rehabilitation is multidisciplinary, rehabilitation is not just multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary, it is also encompasses a wide range of subjects. In this very course, for you to do rehabilitation, that is why it's a very fundamental and core course. We will be dealing with part of health, involving some psychologists, involving medical doctors. In rehabilitation, we do with biochemistry. We will be doing with what we call community-based rehabilitation, and we'll be dealing with a lot of indigenous, and all of them combined with what we call empowerment. And the reasons will be given to you as we begin to move on. Rehabilitation falls under the purview of what we call in Nigeria, it falls under the Federal Ministry of Justice, and not just the Federal Ministry of Justice alone, the Federal Ministry of Health, or many MDAs. By the MDAs, just to remind you, just like what you know, ministry, departments, what we talk about agencies, we talk about parastatals, combining together, collaborating to talk about the basic issues of rehabilitations. It will be bold on this, that under the Ministry of Health, we have what we call the Federal Ministry of Health Medical Rehabilitation Therapists or Registration Board of Nigeria. At the local scene here in Benue State, let me give you, for example, most of you are conversant, most of you had chitato, everything was moribund, but with very good intentions, with very awareness, with research, and returning back to academics, the Institute of Procurement, in conjunctions with even the Benue State government, having working to wake them from slumber, where Africa was more of a sleeping giant, sleeping in terms of rehabilitation, that has become an onus, that has become an issue that we must be able to press to follow our rating. We now have the moribund Benue State Rehabilitation Board at P. It's more for now, headed by Mr. Alexander, is on with picking up to do the needful. We have some local, very also example of what we call from the NKST Rehabilitation Board, having some part in MCA, in having some part of health. When we talk about the children care in Benue here, we have the care center at Boku, particularly out of Bangaji. In Vandeka, there are also some. Just to mention other places like we have scattered along Plateau, Abuja, Lagos, Kaduna, and all of that. We will be looking at this, why they have been remaining silent, why these very important issues of rehabilitations, including ourselves that, oh, it has not been done. As we begin to look into this course, we will see that how practical it is. Most of you will also be needing rehabilitation. Dr. Eddie Terra may be needing rehabilitation. Chokos Ufamia may be needing rehabilitation. Chagu Ted may be needing rehabilitation. But as we move on, we'll be able to meet the kind of rehabilitation that they need. Could it be economical rehabilitation? Would it be social rehabilitation? Which kind of rehabilitation will patients or module be needing? Which one kind of rehabilitation that Her Excellency Queen Nafisa Mohammed will be needing? We move to this class, we will discover that, oh, all of us, including our facilitators, including our colleagues, including our homes, including our nook and crannies, we may be needing rehabilitation, and it will be very important. I paused a bit, and I was talking to some certain people, just last lectures, and when we begin to talk about concept of rehabilitation, oh, they say, oh, somebody will say, I will rehabilitate you. I will make sure I will rehabilitate you, and I'll leave my young Juliet, we will become giant and Boston. We'll see how important the course will be. But let me also remind you, and I will move to the next that we'll be talking. The next that we'll be talking is, if there is no disability, if there is no challenge, if there is no lacuna, if there is no gap, if there is no issue of normality, if there's no conflict, if there's no displacement, if our economics is very stable, then all of that, and we have a very rehabilitation will become minimal. It will not have much to do. But in a situation whereby there are a lot of issues bedeling us, I told part of my students that part of the rehabilitation someone may be needing is sometimes it's just what we call food security rehabilitation. Could it be that, oh, it's past 10 now, before he came for this class, before we were able to, has he taken breakfast, just like we asked in the other classes we do, or what kind of rehabilitation may be needed? Some may not be able to meet us here. As we are discussing the concept of rehabilitation, a lot of people, a lot of intellectuals, a lot of students like you are not here with us. Even some of that are joining us in these lectures, some are joining us with their, what we call their Android phone. Not many people are joining us with their PC, personal computers. Not many people are joining us with what we call their laptops, but many are joining us with tablets because they have one impairment, they have one disadvantage of the other. That takes me to the concept of what we visibly call disability. And let's move to what we call disability. And now we'll be asking, let me now go back and ask, I will start today. We is in a very attractive class. I'll go back to my friend, Mkeman Kolan Ozoma. Ozoma, please, you will be able to tell me what is a disability? What do you understand by the term disability? If you say there is no disability, there are no challenges, there are no issues, we may not be talking about what we call the rehabilitation. But let me also remind you, if I have not called you and you want to answer question, let's address ourselves with decorum. Let's make sure you raise your hand up. If you don't want to contribute, what you may simply need to do is you just drop your questions or your answers or wherever your comments, your suggestion in the chat box, and I will gladly do justice to it. And in rehabilitations, we entertain a lot of questions. Wherever you are not going along with us, please, you can stop me, you can ask me, we'll go back repeatedly, we explain to you. Over to Ozoma to tell me what he understands about what is disability. Ozoma, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Disability is any form of, let me use the word shortfall in ability. Shortfall in ability in the sense that the person is somehow incomplete as a normal human being, whether physically or mentally or emotionally. Let's say somebody, for example, whom one of his hand or one of the legs are not functioning properly, or both legs or both hands are not functioning properly. Maybe somebody who is having sight problem, maybe somebody who is having hearing impairment, maybe somebody who also cannot speak, who cannot talk. All these things are characterized as disability. And somebody who cannot function as optimally as a normal human being said to be suffering from disability. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my very good friend Ozoma. I am very economical with giving marks, but if I'm to give marks, I would say that is perfect. You gave a perfect and excellent understanding of disability. Now, if I'm to mark, as I'm marking already, trust that in rehabilitation, just like we do, I don't quite always know, but most of the courses, this is a core course I take, most of them are practical, but I pass first because of my vast knowledge and that of what I handle some certain course like this one. And I can actually score you an A from the definition from what you have given. And I'm impressed with that. I will also give room. Yeah, I'll give you room for others who may want to have a contribution or may want to ask if there is any questions you have. Engineer Precious, my personal person also. Engine is also my engine. You are welcome to the class. Advanced Social Standard in Rehabilitation. Yeah, I can see my friend Abu Emmanuel, please, over to you.
All right, so I just wanted to make a contribution towards to his definition of disability. Yes, actually, disability.
Thank you very much.
It varies from individuals, and then I think I don't know, Sha, but I stand to be corrected. But I think so there are some cultural influence on disabilities too, because there are some things that a particular culture will permit and another culture will not permit. because I feel it should not just be narrowed down to biological effects, like maybe the size, movement, and some other biological traits. Instances, there are some how will I put it, some cultures that might actually they actually do some things that are really not okay with other culture, and then which actually will make this person not to fit in to participate if this person is not to be in his cultural background or cultural location. So I don't know, it's actually a contribution and also a question, sir. Can we actually term this to actually be a form of disability too or not, sir?
Thank you very much, Abu Emmanuel. I am on the same page with you. And let me recast, let me restate, let me repeat. I said earlier that disability is multisectoral, is multidisciplinary. Disability is wide, composed of wide range. So what you were asking, just like trying to say, you are not out of place. Disability does not focus just on biologically. When we do further out, we look at the what's even emotional. We do with even state of mental health. As we be doing this course, we move further out. Oh, you will be smiling. The thought process you are going from what you are thinking. You say, yeah. What's on the point that disability is deep. It covers almost wide range of spectrum, cover wide range of cause that is go beyond what we think. And at the end of the day, we may be looking at, that's why we mentioned a lot of issues. So disability is wide. I go back to Echeme John before we come back to Ageda Sylvia. Echeme John, hands has been up. When we are done with that, we will touch a little bit. I will go to Ageda Joshua. Echeme John.
Thank you so much. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Disability, to me, my understanding about disability is not about physical challenge. When we talk about mental challenge, when one is not performing to a full potential as a result of the challenge he's facing, his life or around him, that limit his ability to achieve the purpose or which the potential that is in him to bring them to bear. The person is facing some form of the challenges, and then that is a disability to me. It must not be a physical disability, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me, before I go back to Ageda Silva and come back to Cheve Raf, I remind you that, I used to take a course and we say, let's do some basic, what we call a sensorial test. Disability sometimes even is intellectual. I say, how did you do that, Dr. Teran? I say, okay, very fine. And I then ask them questions. Put your side. So what is the course code for this course? Many people were able to tell me the course code. I said, what is the course title for this course? Many of them, they were unable to tell me the course title. The only others, who is your facilitator for the course? They were able to, some were able, some were unable. So most of the time we will talk about disability. It could be what you think that is not disability, it may be disability. If we are able to, at the end of these lectures, and you are able to comprehend just about only 10% or 20%, or all that you came to IPES, you came for masters. Others are getting this very easily. And then there is all these ones that at the end of the day, when something is done, they could see that could understand. When they look at, that the day apart from that, Tehide Jimmy has understand, Omoya has able to do, but then Dr. Teran has not been able to understand what they are discussing about or where they are focusing. It is also a disability. We go further, we look at the intellectual, how it affects the neuron. We look at the cognitive approach, how we can be able to look at it. All that also leads to disability. We go back to Ageda Sylvia, you wanted to say something, we'll come back to Raf, Teve, and Menace Anongo.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Disability is a condition that limits someone to act, behave, or live normally like the other people.
Thank you very much. That's very great. I appreciate your contribution, and you are right on course. Let me move to Teve Raft Ichab. Teve Raft.
Good morning, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Raft.
Yes. Thank you, sir. My understanding of disability is that disability is an impairment or misnomer that limits one's ability to function maximally or to his or her full potential. And this can come in forms of physical, biological, or hereditary. So sometimes some children are given at birth, sometimes they could have brain damage, sometimes they could have a physical deformity, and all of this sums up to disability. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jennifer Jato is reminding us, she started very clear for us. If you look at the batches about Jennifer Jato is telling us disabilities could be physical, it could be mental. She's reminding us it could be psychological. Jennifer Jato went ahead, is telling us, oh, this could also be what we do as well. It's also part of disability. I will give just more 2% to make their input. Manasseh Anongochia, and then we Jiba. Two of them before we continue. Manasseh Anongochia, please.
Yes, I think all the definitions put forth in terms of disability, I agree with them. I only just want to add that disability is anything that needs human attention. Once you have something and an attention is being needed for that thing to be taken care of, that is disability. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. For now, I will just ask Jiba, and then we pro Jiba. You wanted to say something? Yeah.
Okay, sir. I've subscribed to the previous speakers on the definition of what disability is. So I just want to ask briefly here, sir. If you have a nanny which is equivalent to your children's age, and he's always doing household job, and you allow your children to be schooling, and she keeps growing, at the end of it all, there's no educational orientation in him or her, would that be a sort of disability? Thank you, sir.
Okay, that is not disability. What we are talking about, we may be looking at what we call rehabilitation. She may be needing, it could be an academic rehabilitation. It could not be, it could be what we call intellectual rehabilitation. She could be what we refer to CCB, community-based rehabilitations. We may be also be embarking on when we begin to hear the concepts of rehabilitations, or what she may be lacking for us to regain ourselves and to be normal and to join like the children, the normal one. She may be lagging behind, and we will tell you how we'll be able to handle that kind of case. And in this class, we will be giving you practical cases to reason, just like the one you mentioned, and what could be possibly be done, what could be possibly be the solution. As we move on, we'll also be telling you in this course, various agencies that have the responsibilities, that they have the responsibility of making sure that all that you need, that this kind of issues can be handled, like what you are mentioning now. We will now refer you to a bit. Let me digress a bit. How you can contact us, where we'll take you to NAPTI. On NAPTI, National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Person, we compose of how many departments? 11 departments, and how the executive director or secretary can handle that. There is a department of what we call Department of Rehabilitation in that very ministry, that one very agency that can handle that. We will also be telling you how we'll move further on. Another name for rehabilitations, the rehabilitations have about 5, 6, 7 names. In other contexts, if I'm talking about rehabilitation, I may be talking about repatriation. If we rehabilitations, I may move to reformation. If I move to reformation, is the subset of rehabilitation, I may be talking about reconstruction. When I talk about reconstruction, I will also be talking about reintegration. And I'll give you a practical example. When you move to Borno State, the department of what we call rehabilitation is we have Ministry of Reconstruction, Ministry of Rehabilitations, and how they attract funds, how there is a lot of wonders happening. Most of you will be wondering why Professor Baba Ganazulu of Borno State has been in the news doing a lot of things. It's just because of this rehabilitation. When you move to Adamawa State, this rehabilitation that you are studying a course here, they will be talking to the Department of Reintegration. When you move to River and Reconstruction, when you move to River State, we have a ministry, just like we have Ministry of Disasters Management, we also have Ministry of Rehabilitations, and all of that will be handling, and you will know who is responsible for what, for this, and how can it be done. But that let me be, let's go back to disability. Remember, don't forget, I know you always know, but remember, if there's no disability, if there's no challenge, if there's no abnormality, if everything is in order, 100%, and practically, you know, it's impossible, all ceteris paribus, for things to be normal, even in the developed countries, if they will not have rehabilitation. So rehabilitation is everywhere, and we'll be looking at it. Rehabilitations will drop disability, or that's why we're having disability. We are starting with disability. And let me remind you, until 19th century, many people were with disabilities, they were locked up and kept in houses, they were jailed for their families, they could not be able to take care of them. Let me give an example. A very good example is leprosy. Leprosy, what the Benue people, what my side of people popularly call Imande, and what my friends simply call the and all of that. If the people were down with leprosy, they were isolated, they were kept far away, there were not issues of that, because they have disability. Many of them, in terms of disability, before we look at it, before the issues of what we call the dangurugus, they were looked down upon, and nobody felt that, oh, they could contribute to the economy, they could contribute to the situation. But this adage that most of you have been telling me, that means there is ability in what? Disability. So ability is no more an excuse. In Nigeria now, we have a lot of people who are the mighties. I can mention you about 2 or 3 people who have about 2 presidents or 3 presidents that have disability, most of this, but are one of the most effective presidency. In Nigeria right now, we have the governor, my very good governor, the performing governor, and capacity governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Eno is had a lot of disability. Just at your backyard here, Senator Tanko Amakura, of Nasarawa State, had one of the people with disability, was governor, he performed creditably, and became a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we must be able to, reason why we have to also focus on disability, we'll be looking at all of this. They were in jail, even among children, for most of them that had disability in our villages and our communities, they are thrown away. Some will pick them to the street. You need to bring Babalawa. We need to bring one man from Okija Shrine to make sure what we call, they are making sure they are thrown away simply because of disability. Some were tagged, some are still tagged or banjers. Those are those ones with physical form of disability. And this some could be unborn children. We'll be looking at that. They were incarcerated. They were kept away. They were separated. Where they have a lot of luncheons, where you have a lot of party going on, a lot of entertainment. But this disability could be converted in terms of sport, in terms of athletics, in terms of development, and their contribution is very, very powerful. So just like you say, we all agree and we accepted in clear and crystal terms that disability is a physical or mental condition that limits, not just physical, is to say it could be physical. Remember, there's also a mental condition that could limit, anything that could limit just a bit a person's movement. Senses, not just movement, remember again, senses or activities which may hinder, if anything that can hinder the full or effective participation in the society on equal basis with others, we say that kind of person is down with disability. We go further on to say that, with disability or person living with disability exhibit disorder condition. And that disorder condition, what we call dysfunction, it could be something like impairment, and all of you know what is impairment, not just impairment, and that impairment could be affliction, it could be not just affliction, it could be ailment, it could be diseases, it could be a temporary situation, it could be what we call disablement, It could be what we call incapacity. If you are incapacitated in any way, any capacity of man, of the pain, and all of that, it is referred to as disability. And not just that, we also refer to what we look at infirmity. If there's, it could be what we call intellectual disability. Intellectual disability, why is it that some other persons will be looking at how we can be able to discuss, we can be able to rehabilitate, embark on advanced rehabilitation? Why is it that we'll be asking some typical question? Some of you should be prepared because I'm going to ask you. There's what we call stuttering. Stuttering properly referred to many of you as stammering. That we look at it, is why is it a disability? And if it's a disability, why is it that some people will speak fluently? Some way they want to pronounce their words, some certain words, you will not be here. Some people look at, they speak very slowly. Some people, even when it comes to even writing, how we can be able to improve on the broader scale. It has to also do with what is called learning disability. Some people can be able to grasp, all they need to do is that to be in this lecture, while for others, they need to read their notes, they need to repeat, they need to grasp where some have talent and where others have difficulties. Now let me call Famian. Famian Chokos, your hand was up before we move to other discussing from the pictorial about issue of disability and all of that. Famian Chokos, over to you, please.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So, okay, so sir, I was just thinking, if you look at the definition of disability by WHO, they talk about
any
long
person that is
term.
likely.
So yes, so if disability happens when it becomes a long term. So for instance, if somebody had an accident with the leg broken,
yes,
and the person is already in the process of healing, that's not a disability.
Yes.
It's just an accident that will be it will end. How do I even put it? At the end of the day, the person will recover. But then
yes,
when it becomes a situation where it becomes long-term or permanent, then it becomes a disability. And then particularly, I also wanted to add that the disability is noticeable more when it impedes your daily functioning and then your ability to perform on the same level with others. So if what you have is not impeding your daily functioning, then it is also not a disability.
Okay.
That is
and
that is my
your own perception about issue of disability.
Perception. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's our own perception. We thank you. What we are trying to give a true rule of all disability is that, remember, we are coming to all of that. We have we talk about physical disability, permanent disability. We giving this concept is for all to you to know how the preamble before we go into rehabilitation. So it's just for us to know, have an idea about, we'll go deeper very soon. We'll be looking at the causes of disability. We'll be, when we begin to dig deeper, maybe we have a second thought. You'll be thinking of how it is caused, how some situation exists, how it is that it mustn't be impeding, but once it affects one way or the other. According to the definition of the World Banks that you are talking, World Health Organization, we will go further, is there. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Is the World Health Organization defines disability as anybody, including those who are likely rehabilitations. When you move further, those who are likely to be done with disability, they need rehabilitation. We will looking further, all of that, but we'll look at this. Now let's go back to these pictures. From the pictures here, I will be asking, I'll go back to Dondo Awashima. Dondo Awashima, I should be able to prepare to tell me something from the pictures, from what he has seen from these pictures, what he can infer. Samuel Omoya will also tell me from this kind of pictures, what he has seen. And from Dondo Awashima, Samuel Omoya, the last person that will speak about that will be Yaju Tokwasi. Yaju Tokwasi will also tell us from the pictorial what she has seen from the pictorial, what we can observe. And let's start with Dondo. Dondo Awashima, please, from the pictorial here, if anybody wants to make comments, please, you raise up your hands. If you want to contribute in the chat box, it's also free. If you feel you have been called upon and you don't want to say something, contribute in the chat box. We will share your own thoughts, your contribution, your comments, and your suggestion. And over to Dondo Awashima. We don't rehabilitate anybody in the housing, just like disability. So intermittently, we are assessing you and we are asking to know whether you are part of advanced social standard rehabilitation. Dondo Awashima. Okay. Is she in the class with us or she just logged in and she's busy with some other business? Okay, let's move next to the next person. From Dondo, we'll move to, before we come back to Tokwasi Yaju. From the pictorial here.
Okay, good morning, sir. Yeah, good morning, sir. From the pictorial, from the second picture, I'm seeing a community outreach for disabled people, and I can see help from various organizations there also. I think they provided them with help and community outreach in terms of their movable
their situational condition.
Yes, sir. Then on the third picture, I can see someone helping a disabled person, and also on the fourth picture, and I can see another person helping a disabled person on the street too. And on the picture, I can see a community social worker or a nurse helping a disabled person in terms of care. Can also be referred to as a doctor too, with a stethoscope.
Yeah.
That would be all.
Thank you very much, Sam Omoya, for your robust contribution. Let's move to Yaju Tokwasi. Tokwasi Yaju, from the pictorial there, what is your observation? What can you say there about disability and rehabilitation? Is Yaju Tokwasi not there, just like Dondo Awashima, who is not there, who just log in attendance and is now in the class with us? Okay, let me go to my friend Gwakia Gemga. Dondo Awashima is okay. Yaju is there. Yaju, please, what did you see from the pictorial there in terms of disability and in terms of rehabilitation? Before I go back to my friend Gwakia Gemga. Yeah, Tokwasi, did you see any form of disability from there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Did you see any form of rehabilitation? Anything like crutches? Anything you see? Anything like assistive technology trying to assist?
Sorry, sir, I'm trying to move away from where there's noise, please.
Oh, okay. I'll call Gwakia to BEM you. Okay. When you are ready, you get back to us. Gwakia again, please. Gwakia, what did you see from there? Is there anybody that wants to make comments before we continue?
Hello, sir.
We make some. Okay, Gwakia, please. Could it be that your network is fluctuating? Gwakia Gemga. Okay. From the visibility, from the pictorial, we can see from there. Okay, Teve, Rav, want to say something?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Rav.
So, from the pictorial, like the first picture, I can see what the example you gave of the danguru being. I think someone is in his front showing love or care, and the second picture I can say community approach to care given to those in the wheelchair. Some which could possibly be as a result of polio, and the other pictorial I see someone assisting a disabled person with disability in a wheelchair, and the other picture, a nurse giving care and maybe giving a talk to a patient. This patient will not maybe be physically disabled, but maybe mentally or health-wise. So these are the observations that
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Laura. That was a very good contribution. That's a very good one from there. In all that we are trying to see from the pictorial area, there's nothing different from what most of you have seen. Most of you have seen practical cases. Most of you have seen that, oh, one person is down with one issue of the other. One person is down with, oh, how this can be done. Some form of disability, all that we may need to do is that, oh, we may need what is known as psychological counseling. You don't need to do. When it involves some certain issue, we'll be going all of that. Emmanuel Tete, please, you want to say something before we proceed?
Yes, sir. Sir, from what Payam just said, sir, from WHO, sir, I want to get a more clarification. Does it mean disability has long-term and short-term disability? Please, sir, I want to know. Thank you very much, sir.
You want to know that what?
I want to know if disability have a long-term and a short-term process. Based on his explanation, he said from WHO.
That is what you are referring to. Okay,
Mr.
thank you. What you are referring to is rehabilitation, but not disability.
Yes, sir.
We are referring to rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is short term.
No,
Let me explain to you. I'll go back to disability.
Okay, sir.
In disability, you have permanent disability. Okay? You have
Okay,
permanent
sir.
disability. Permanent disability. We have what is called short-term disability. You have medium-term disability. We have long-term disability and permanent disability. And I will explain to you before moving to the next determination. That was the next thing I was going to do. And that was why I told Fabian Chiokos that is his own perception referring to the World Bank. But for the standards, to the World Health Organization, thereabout. But for the standards, we have our own classification of disability, and it's practical. There are cases we see. Some form of disability, what we call it, are just short term, in a short while. Because we want to go rehabilitation, somebody may have disability today, that intellectual impairment, the same intellectual impairments that someone have, with good environment, we'll be dealing with that very soon. With good nutrition, we'll be dealing with that soon. With good people. You ask some certain group of people who are doing the way we come to sport, entertainment, when we come to what we call religious rehabilitation. We call living in terms of community-based rehabilitation. That somebody will go further, we'll talk about, even in the African palace, spiritual rehabilitation. How that person has been, all of that. When I begin to move all of that, move further on, you will know. And then it will become very clear to you. Don't worry about that. But for the interim disability, we have permanent disability. And I'll give you an example. The kind of form of disability is that you can only be able to ameliorate. By ameliorating the situation, we can only reduce, we can only mitigate. So that's kind of that kind of this. One of them example is that we talk about diabetes mellitus. We bring all of that. Some form of disabilities are also when you come under the causes of disability that are heredity. Other form of those kind of heredity, including issues like sickle cells and all of that. You could be down with impair you or all of that, and it's life. All you can need to do is that you begin to mark on how the use of bone marrow, the use of biospan, use of basic issue, and how you can be able to do, and then you can be able to do that. We'll give you practical example. We'll give you more example that you will see with your naked eyes, and it will become clear. That is why I asked that. Maybe at the end of this class, at the end of this session, at the end of after 1 week, your thought process, your perception about disability, all of that will change, and you know you will be shouting, wow, wow from there. That takes me to all of that, Emmanuel Tete. Now, let's move further on. Be prepared to ask many questions as want. We'll be glad. We can repeat 100 times. The basics, all of this, we will try to do is that when I take you in a course, we are more concerned with you getting the knowledge. You should get the knowledge rather than passing exams or examination. At least you should be able to grasp how you can be helpful to your society. Abu Emmanuel, your hands is up. I've seen it. I'll get back to you. But how you can be able to improve yourself, you can be able to handle all of that. But let's go further on to look at disability also to include people. Now, Abu Emmanuel, read the slide. Read this very slide from the beginning to the end. I'll explain and then get back to you as answer. Abu Emmanuel.
Yes, sir. All right. Disability also includes.
Yeah.
All right. Disability also include people who are disadvantaged or handicapped. Disability also include people who are disadvantaged or handicapped, especially one imposed or recognized by the law. Point number 2.
Recognized by the law. Go on.
Yes. And point number 2, this encompasses vision, impairment, hearing, deaf or dumb, mental health conditions, intellectual disability, acquired brain injury, autism spectrum disorder, physical disability, learning disability, cerebral palsy, yes, then dyslexia. Then point number 3, multiple disabilities, muscular dystrophy, mental illness, dwarfism, multiple sclerosis.
Okay, let me tell you, you're not a professional, so I still give you a very good match, Emmanuel Abu. Right. That's why when we deal with the issue of advanced social standard rehabilitation, I remember I told you it's a course that you must be mutual or multidisciplinary. You cannot just be able to study just one and be able to advance social rehabilitation. You must be somebody who have vast, including yourself, and this is what you stand to gain in this course. You do a lot of things. At a certain point, what we are discussing all will be medical doctors. Then we'll move to some of you that are psychologists at a certain point. At a certain point, it will be sociologists. Then we'll move on. Very soon, we'll be talking about all you need to do is skills and all of that. Disability has include people that are disadvantaged. And if you are disadvantaged, you are in a way of one or the other, vulnerable, marginalized in quotes, not just the other one we know, or handicapped, especially one imposed or recognized by the law. Most disabilities, but the one that we talk about, when about the issues is that they are recognized by the road, not just by the law alone. They also have code. We also have what we call code, and not just code again. These disabilities, they also have association. The association, they are registered, they are recognized. If this lecture was a physical one, for most of people that I knew, they want to check out this. There are some video, there are some site that will refer you to watch, but when you watch, you just shout and say, is this all of this had to do with disability? This encompasses vision impairment, hearing impairment, deaf or dumb, mental health condition, intellectual disability, acquired brain injury, autism spectrum disorder, physical disability, learning disability, cerebral palsy, dyslexia, multiple disability. At a certain level, we talk about one of disability is that one disability may be connected with the one another. Just one person may have a kind of multiple disability. It could be 1, 2, 3, conjoined with the other one, considering the condition and taking a long period of time. Muscular dystrophy. We talk about mental illness. We talk about dwarfism. If you have a dwarf, if anybody that you both will look at this, we will be looking at it. Why is dwarfism known as disability? We'll move further on. When we move further, we'll be asking you, even female, what we call as FGM, female genital mutilation, we refer to as the form of disability. We'll be handling all of that. It may be straight to you. We'll handle issues like multiple sclerosis, issues like, example, like sickle cell, anemia, hemophilia, speech disability. You may have speech disability and longer disability. There is also some other issues you may be thinking that, it's not disability. Issues like Parkinson's diseases, where we know is common nowadays with age men. Your president, our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that is the issue that is struggling with. Where if you want to talk, you want to hold microphone, your hand is shaking, big. When you want to move, you have what we call as a gaiety movement. You cannot be able to balance effectively. You cannot be able to undergo and we will deal with all of this. You will be know why we need rehabilitation and all of that. How we can be able to do all that. Then we'll look at issues like leprosy. We look at issues like epilepsy. With epilepsy, how does it have to be with disability? It has to do with the cognitive, the neurons that has to do with the brain that has to do from that. That are affecting some other aspect, including most of them that could affect even spinal cord, including our thinking faculty and then our intellectual quotient. We'll now move to what we causes the causes of disability. There are many factors that are responsible for rising numbers of people with disabilities. And among them is what we call communicable diseases. Communicable diseases, I'll go back to Ralph Jibba. Ralph Terry. No, Ralph, before we come back to Jibba. Ralph Terry, you read communicable diseases and you will explain to us, giving us further examples of communicable diseases as well they become form of disability. Ralph Terry, when we finish all of that, we will discuss further. Over to Ralph. We're looking at causes of disability.
Okay, thank you, sir. I should read what is on the screen.
Yeah, read number 1 and 2 and explain to us how they can cause disability.
Number 1. Okay, communicable diseases.
Communicable
diseases can
what?
cause like leprosy. Communicable
louder,
diseases
please.
like leprosy, polio. Communicable diseases like leprosy, polio, trachoma. These are the unconscious.
Some of these words are professional words.
Yes, sir. Or river blindness.
Onchocerciasis.
Onchocerciasis, very good. I give 100 marks for that pronunciation. Good.
Malaria, tuberculosis, bilharzia, and other parasitic diseases, sexually transmitted diseases, including AIDS and many others. Then
please, can you explain that one? Just explain the number 1.
Okay, yeah. Communicable diseases.
Yes. Yes. Okay, Ralph, don't bother yourself. It seems your network is bad. We'll come back to you. I go back to Rosemary Edu. Rosemary Edu, please. How can this communicable disease, okay, Precious. Let me give Precious, Engineer Precious Fian. Please, over to Engineer Precious Fian.
Yes, I want to talk about communicable diseases.
Good.
And then particularly polio. I want to use a very practical illustration for it. People that are affected, children, so children that are affected with polio, you see that as they grow up, they are unable to walk.
Very good.
And polio is communicable. That's why you see the Ministry of Health through the primary health care boards at different intervals, once they discover that they got a case of polio in any part of the country, they go on a countrywide vaccination of children against polio so that it doesn't spread. Yeah, so polio is communicable and it causes disability. Any child that has polio most times is unable to walk. The legs don't develop properly, so it causes disability. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Excellent contribution given that. Now let's move to, Ozoma has spoken. I'm looking for who okay, maybe we'll go to Omodu patients. Omodu, how does number 2, malnutrition, where you have undernutrition, how does it affect women that are pregnant and children, small children, does malnutrition or undernutrition causing a form of disability? Omodu patients, please. Is a model with us in the class? If it's not there, we will look for Jato Jennifer. Jato, how does malnutrition or undernutrition, being specific for women, for pregnant women, how can that cause a kind of disability? And where you have practical cases, we have a lot of examples abound. How can that be a cause of disability? Jato Jennifer.
Good morning,
we
sir.
move from a model, no response, so we go back to you. Just like Donda Washima, no response. We move to you. If there is no response, be telling us so that we go to Jennifer Chekwa. Jennifer has not spoken to the Jennifer, please. Jato is here.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jato. Jennifer.
Thank you, sir. Malnutrition and undernutrition in pregnant women can affect both mother and development of the child that is in the womb as well. Mentally and psychologically, sir. Because when a pregnant woman is not eating properly, she doesn't have the necessary nutrients and vitamins that will help in the development of the child as well as her own well-being. It will affect the child and it may cause certain kind of disabilities or deformities in the child that even after the child is born, it could lead to certain physical disabilities. So it's necessary for every pregnant woman or pregnant women to be able to access good medical facilities that can give them all they will need at a discounted rate that is affordable for them, because sometimes most of these things are quite expensive, making it difficult for these women to access it. But if it's made available at a discounted or affordable rate, they can access it and it will help in the development of both the child and a good. When we have good children that are well taken care of, that they give birth to in that when during pregnancy, when a woman takes care of herself and the child in her womb and she gives birth to the child, you discover that you have a generation or a community of healthy babies and healthy citizens, which will help in reducing the costs of sicknesses and disabilities in that community. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Perfect, on point. And I'll give Jennifer Jato 1.5 bossa. Boss. I'll just stop there. Very good one. Jennifer's reminding us where children are not well fed or malnutrition, it could cause a lot of deformity, like lack of vitamin D, causing issues like deformity like scurvy, with no lack of vitamin E, affecting skins, even the stamina of the mother in quest, the children, and all of that, affecting them. He gave us an example of why some children, when they are born, you see them, they look chubby. They look very fine, beautiful. Why others one has begun to grow, as you can see in a lot of them, moving with what we call kwashiorkor, causing a lot of that. As a form of disability, affecting even their intellectual capacity and all of that. We will be calling on Johnny Chairman. Chairman, non-communicable diseases we already started is quite just opposite arthritis. Issues like arthritis, where you look at back pain, cardiovascular problems, epilepsy, cancer, diabetes mellitus, we look at respiratory, one of these issues or problems. We call on the chairman. The chairman, how is female circumcision refers to as the causes of disability? In your own opinion, in your own understanding, female circumcision. And we want you to comment on that. And in fact, Yokosu, I also want to hear you. How can we refer to female genital mutilation, FGM, or female circumcision as a form of disability? Chairman, please.
Yes, sir. In my own understanding, female circumcision can be a form of disability because I believe, one, at the point of doing undergoing the circumcision, you are inflicting pain on that very person, and at the process, it is possible that that person can even contaminate germs through the material you use in doing that thing at a particular time that will cause harm to the person's health at that particular time. And that health, if it causes harm to his health, it will lead to a disability if not well taken care of, that will lead in future and then becomes an issue that the person will deal with for the rest of his or her life. And then secondly, from the stories I heard, those that even undergoing circumcision sometimes are sexually, they are not even, how do I even put it, they are not sexually appealed. Sometimes like that, they are prone to issue of sex when it comes to them like that, and then they don't like doing that, and then they become, in a way, it causes a lot of damages to them.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Let's hear from Manasseh Anongochia before we go back to Chokoso. Why is female circumcision, female genital mutilation? Yeah.
Yes, you see, the female genital mutilation is a disability.
Yes.
Our parents, those years, they believe that one way of curtailing promiscuity is to circumcise the lady. Now, during this particular period, even if you look at it, women that are circumcised like that, they are prone to VVF more than other women, which will become permanent if not properly taken care of.
Okay.
And in addition, we also understand that there's you need to arouse a woman. Sex is not for one person. Both parties have to be involved. They have to have an intimacy. A situation whereby a woman is circumcised, it will be very difficult for you to arouse her.
Ladi Anthony. Yeah, go ahead. We're coming back to Ladi Christabel Uche. Popularly, our popular Ladi Anthony. We'll go back to her.
So, as a result,
thank you very much, Manasseh, for your contribution. But remember, when you want to look at the definition of disability, then you can be able to liken. Does this affect physically? Does this affect somebody emotionally? Does it cause within pain? Does it impair? Does it recognize on all of that? Then you can be able to. Over to Ladi Christabel Uche, Ladi Anthony.
Good morning, Doug. Good morning, House. You know, I want to chip in my own opinion here because it's a very big issue of concern. You know, female circumcision can cause any survivor heavy stigma, discriminations, and also sometimes limited access to care. How do I say that? Every of these survivors, they move around with the stigma that I am being circumcised. I have I'm not normal like the other women. I am not complete. There's something that is missing outside me. And again, sexually, they have this thing that they no longer, the trauma that they face when they have sex.
Trauma!
They have, because as a result of that kind of trauma, they have anxiety, they have depression when having
psychologically.
Sex. Yes, psychologically, they have this pain, this anxiety and depression that they face when having sex. So they move around that I am not as normal as other female. Physically, what do we say? They have this kind of chronic and depression, just like they have been saying. They face chronic pain, and they also they are more exposed to infection than every other females. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Various causes of intellectual impairment, that's number 6. We look at it, often what we refer to as unknown origin, and usually congenital or immense. Chronic and drug abuse, where you have a substance abuse and drug abuse with those smoking weed, marijuana, some that's popularly known as tramadol, that can cause a when taken excessively or unprescribed. We look at other causes of disability as heredity, such as blindness, deafness, more of muscular dystrophy. We had a lot of even sickle cell, just like we say some could be multiple, comes from the heredity. Heredity in the sense of from parents to their offspring. They have many of them. I could ask you to give me many examples of heredity, what disability that has been transferred from parents, if not workable, if not embark on what we call preventive rehabilitations or taking some certain restorative rehabilitation, although we have some kind of home accident causing us to be disability, traffic accident, office accident. Just last week, about 2 weeks back, most of you will remember the United Bank of Africa, Ivory Tower security capital in Lagos State. In terms of emergency, in terms of, we are luckily, there was a kind of a fire, there was a kind of a, what we call, we were trying to jump from a story building, a tower, not just a story building, that causes a lot of disability, including deaths, even traffic accident. We talk about prenatal problem, causing a lot of cerebral palsy, work accident, civil war. If you look at the situation of just yesterday, for those of you that watch the situation in northern part of Gaza and northern part of where we're affecting in the parents' time and all of that. Just last week, the situation between what we call the Russia and Ukraine escalated, even in Kyiv, in the urban suburb of Kyiv. There was that kind of that. There's thinking of a lot of unrest. There's lots of communal, and not just communal, the kind of tribal war. In the Sankrajo political zone, just last week in Katsinala, particularly along Bachula Mayongo, where you discover that not just some form of deformity that were causes, about 12 security men were gone down. Now, not just gone down, we talk about issues like love, of hard, sad, and horrible experience. The casualty of violences often suffer. That's we look at what we now put it down. Long life physical disability, mental health complications. It complicates a lot of their mental health. It's a form of disability. Example of that could be dementia. We have luckily causing a lot of people. You forget easily. It's a kind of disability, something that is common among what we call the special kind of people, the special kind of people, the age people, and all of that. We also look at basically what we talk about the psychiatric diseases. Remember, sort of the rehabilitation that is done is that for those with psychiatric diseases like we have in the medical center, department of rehabilitation, this with the psychiatric people. And that's of the federal in Alo, what we do with them. Also women who are raped during war. In the terms of touching our women, raping them during war, during conflict disagreements, and all of that affects them. We look at what we call the disability structure. What is the disability structure in Nigeria? Our focus for now, and we'll touch about globally a bit. The present disability structure in Nigeria is guided by discrimination against persons with disability. What do I mean by that? If you want to know anything about disability, if you want to know anything about deeper, about rehabilitation, who is responsible for who is supposed to take care of who is going to do care of that? How do we go about the kind of situation? That is contained in the law of the National Disability Act. The National Disability Act, this is a bill where most of us, including myself, by then, when we worked with the National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, give input. We provided inputs in the public hearing, and that bill was assented, and not just assented, it was also assented by the President of the Federal, concurred by the lower and the upper chamber, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It contains all the information. It is online. It also wrote the brainchild of that also gave rise to the National Commission for Persons Living with Disability. And that's the head of that, executive secretary of that commission, is Barrister Chief Ayuba Gufan. Ayuba Gufan is just from what we call at your backyard here in Plateau State. There's the disability commissions handle all that involved, including budget. And let me also remind you that the National Center or the National Commission for Persons with Disability, that commission is a grade A commission. It's under the presidency, given the nature, given the circumstance, given the situation, and mostly very special attention. Disability issues have been taken care by the government. What do we mean by that? That has been part of the law. The informations are there. Not much awareness, including most of us that we're talking about. At the tree of the government, what we call the local government, the state, the federal government, including voluntary organizations and persons with disability. At the federal level, there are ministries that work in collaborations with the federal ministry responsible for rehabilitation of persons with disability, the people with persons with disability, and towards achieving the goal of rehabilitation. We mentioned some of the ministry, and most of this ministry, they take care, like the Ministry of Justice, dealing with what we call any issue that has to do with the law. The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Department of Rehabilitation, handle most issues, both at the state, both at the federal level. Is there the Federal Ministry of Information and Orientation honors with the whole responsibility of giving not just awareness, but further creating on all of that. The Ministry of Works and Housing in the Disability Act 2008 or 2018 has the mandate, the models of how all the structures, just like emergency, they must be worked in a certain way that, including banks, they must be people to ensure these people that are taken care of. Their entry door, how they can be moved about, should be taken care, including the gadget they use. The most very sure that can do, who will handle issues of compliance, taking into consideration Ministry of Communication, checking all aspects relating to this, where most of them has to be with assistive device. And the essence is what? To ensure inclusivity. That will ensure social cohesion, not just social exclusion, but cohesion, ensuring that they are not left up in situation. When we move further in this course, we'll be telling you how even it's mandatory, how this even is compulsory for them to be given, including employment percentages involved. The Ministry of Transportation, just like it does in the developed society, including where we want to fly, using their aircraft, the National Planning Commission, the Poverty Eradication Program, the National Directorate of Employment. In Nigeria, once again, they are what we call association of disabilities, such as the blind, the deaf, the physical, what we call the handicap, PLWDs, where disabilities are neglected. Most of these people are neglected in policy making. We discuss, we teach you how it has become very well that for you that are having business centers, for you that are having also communities, it's not far from fetch from the others, but you need to include all of that, taking into cognizance, including private organizations, NGOs, to work with the government institution and to make sure that there's kind of this awareness, inclusivity, to make sure that we normalize the situation, to make sure that we improve the situation, to make sure also that we prevent the higher prevalence of this kind of issues we have along. Just like Engineer Precious Fiang was speaking about the issue of polio, where in hitherto in the northern part of Nigeria, we have a Herculean task trying to educate people to prevent that this skill-related disability. They should be vaccinated, they should take immunization, or they should be immunized in a such a way that, oh, everything will go. Just like the cervical cancer. The kind of the cervical cancer, we gave example earlier before. What we talk about. The persons living with disability have first-hand experience. They are the one that when they have challenges, they are the one what we talk barriers they may face. Making their inputs, you need to include them. The inputs has to be involved, crafting effective policy in the policy. But you will be surprised is that most of the time, people are not be able to go with issues like this. And we at the Center of Institute or the Institute of Procurement, Environmental and Social Standard of the Justice University. Today marks you an initiation ceremony as ambassadors of advanced social standard in rehabilitation. That you begin to you will begin to know your role, you will begin to know your functions, and you begin to know that, oh, it is no more business as usual, but we have to work towards making sure that we don't begin to go back all the way of the 18th and the 19th century. To ensure a safety policy as enshrined in the United Nations Convention. The United Nations Convention on Rights of Person with Disability, what we refer to as CRPD. Why Nigeria is signatory to this kind of thing and what it needs to be. And now let's begin to look at why my friend Abu Emmanuel was asking me. Abu Emmanuel was asking me, and even my very good governor, Famian Chokosi, look at the type of disability. There are many different types of disability. There are many of them. So some other literatures, to many other scholars, they will look at issues of disability classification or what we call taxonomy. The taxonomy of disability is very wide, and all of that, what we try to begin to do, but there are many of them. Well, let's look at now who will be able to go back to and tell us, who has not spoken, to be able to read the type of disability we have, and then to be able to make some certain very example. Waka Gemga or Richard, can you please read the slide to be able to draw and share your contribution or comments on the types of disability before we move? All this, remember, we are just preparing our mind to move into the concept of rehabilitation. Thank you, Gemga, please. Is she there? If she's not there, Unisa Ibukum. Unisa, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Unisa, please read the type of disability from what we have on the slide there and tell us your own understanding.
Okay. There are many different types of disability, such as intellectual, physical, sensory, and mental illness. What this point is trying to talk about is the ability to comprehend. That is, we're talking about the intellectual, how you can read and understand what you have read. Physical is just like a physical challenge, either you're handicapped or a cripple, something of that nature. Sensory is how either you can perceive, either you are deaf, something of that nature. Then mental illness, how you can relate with one another.
Perfect. Very good contribution from my friend Unisa Ibukum for that very good and robust contribution. While we share some information about different types of disability with you, remember disability is not black and white. Disability is not black and white. And who can be able to explain that statement? I may just decide to say that while we share some information about disability with you, remember disability is not black and white. Discuss as a question. And let me see who will be able to give us
an
answer about that. If you want to make your contribution, put your hands up, we'll give you a chance, and then you'll be able to talk. I don't want to. Disability, the question is, disability is not black and white. Discuss. Yeah, Unisa Ibukum, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
When they say, on my own opinion, when they say disability is not black and white, it differs. Yes. It's not this or this. It differs. Yes. It varies from a different form that you could not actually lay your trace to.
Yes. Good contribution from there.
All right, sir.
Good contribution.
Okay, sir. So,
yeah.
So, disability is not black and white.
Black. Yes.
I agree with that because, like the example you have given, people who face a particular disability right from childhood, they have adopted certain coping mechanisms as against somebody who got that same kind of disability in their old age or as they get older. The coping mechanisms they are very, very different. For instance, somebody who became deaf when he was a child may have gone to a school where he knows sign language, and then the person who became deaf in old age or at a later age will not be able to learn this sign language. So the person who had this disability at a younger age will be able to communicate with the environment better than the person who got it at an older age. Or for instance, somebody with one hand may know all some of the fingers were cut while he was a kid. He may have adopted ways of grabbing. So he's very used, and then he'll be very, very quick in grabbing, even with together with somebody that has five fingers.
You need to mute your speakers. You need to mute your speakers. Mute your speakers. You need to.
Okay, but then when you get older and then you have some of your fingers amputated, you discover that you struggle with grabbing at this moment. While the person who had this amputation earlier has navigated the process of grabbing and then is interacting with the environment very well. My contribution.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Very wonderful conversation. Perfect and very quite on point. Chokosufamia, our governor. His ability for that to say, just like Chokosufamia has been able to say, we take into cognizance, it may be tomorrow, it may be part of maybe the next day, it may be the next minute. It does not know boundary. It can just like emergency and disasters. We take it seriously. One that was fine yesterday that you knew very well, lots of you know a lot of practical experience. Today, there are one issue or form of disability of the other. Some are intellectual, some are physical, some sensory, some mental. Some you see them on the street, undergoing rehabilitation and rehabilitation therapy or platform. Some could be. So for the young, the age, or whether an Odo, whether an African, whether this one, it does not know all of that. So we have to take it, and that's why we work towards, it's placed on the first line of charge. That is why also it's a fundamental course, a core course, that we don't joke with it. Two people with the same type of disability may not have the same experience. E.g., you're a young boy and with a disability and an old man. Now, who can explain that kind of statement? Now, let me go back to who with. The same person, a young person may have that kind of disability, but a young person, the same that have, will not be able to do. Chaguted, how can two people with the same type of disability, how is it that most of them may not experience the same issues or same, they may not be able to cope or they may not be able to be on the same page? I may need different forms of rehabilitation. Chaguted, is Chaguted there?
Yes, sir. Good morning, class.
Okay. Good morning, my friend Chago.
Yes. To some extent, disability is varies.
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you. It's not audible. We can hear you now. Okay. Okay, let's look for who we rescue. We'll go to Iwodi. Iwodi Lucy, what do you have to say about that?
For an amputee,
so good.
The person, a young person must have that is
okay, let's go back to Rosemary Edu. Let's Rosemary Edu help you. Rosemary Edu, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Rosemary.
Everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Let me use a child who was probably born deaf.
Good.
And dumb. So this child was born deaf and dumb, and in the process of life, maybe he was sent to a special school. Born deaf and dumb. The child was deaf,
dumb. Very good. These are the kind of my exam questions. Sometimes I ask you, this person is deaf and dumb, how he could be rehabilitated. I'm happy about that.
And that child is sent to a special school where he or she is being taught how to use sign language. So the child gets acquainted to it and it grows with it. So it will be different for that child. It will be a bit easy for that child than probably an adult who maybe became deaf as a result of maybe an accident or an illness. It will be difficult, more difficult for that adult to cope because there's a lot to learn at that stage. There's a learning process. You know, you can't talk probably, so you need to learn how to communicate with others. So it will be easier for a child who has already gone through the process than an adult who just got into it and is trying to cope. So that's my contribution. Thank you.
Very correct. Thank you very much, Rosemary Edu, for that wonderful practical experience. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. I saw that before we go into type of intellectual disability, I saw that it was Lucy. Lucy wanted to say something. Lucy, are you still there? Your hands was up. Before we'll come back to TV, Raf, and Emmanuel Tete. Yeah, Lucy wanted to say something.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Lucy.
Yes, I wanted to also say that. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So I wanted to add
we can hear you very well.
I wanted to add that, you know, disability between two people, they have the same disability, but they are not going through the same experiences, could also mean that if a child of a rich man, for instance, has a disability, because provision for rehabilitation of that child is available, the child's
that is very correct.
Experiences will be different from the experiences of a child that their parents don't have money.
Very true. That's very true. What Rose Iwodi Lucy is saying is quite very clear, and I appreciate her for that contribution. Is what we call the environmental factor. The environmental factor is different. We have different capacity. The capacity of Emmanuel Tete is different from the capacity of Raf Chiakura. And in that kind of situation, both in recovery, both in rehabilitation, the situations are different. Before we come back to Tete, Abu, and Raf, we'll be looking at type of intellectual disability. And intellectual disability may mean difficulty in communicating. They have difficulty in communicating, and not just communicating, learning and retaining information. If all you have retaining information, it's a kind of that intellectual disability. There are different types of disability may affect either temporary or permanently. That's the kind of situation we have. Disability impacts negatively on the people, on their social relationship, on social participation, and you look at it, that's what he was telling us. It was a kind of that kind of example Rosemary Edu was also trying to corner or mention something about. Other adults with disability are at the greater risk of social isolation. Most of them are abandoned. Most of them are left. Some will go to work, leaving them in the houses, we leave them in the farm, and most of the time, they don't have care, they don't have interactions, they are limited. You'll not be able to see them even at parties. For others, even get to a certain point, including in our religious worship center, in the mosque, in the church, you will not be able to see them. An issue may worsen with population and aging. Where the population and aging comes in, and where there is, it's so not attended to. We may have a lot of lunatics, we may have a lot of issues in the society. Our society may become toxic, our environment may become toxic, issues, the state, and it may take time. People with disabilities experience more difficulties in the home. You can see it in your home, even in school, and all of that. They suffer emotionally, suffering psychologically, suffering physically, trying to look at it. But let's look at type of physical disability. A physical disability, they may impact on what we call the impact on the person's speech, language, and communication skill. A lot of people with physical disability like cleft where you say that, oh, on a unborn child. For others, you see that part of the mouth is eaten away or chopped away. They try to look at the languages, they try to look at the communication skills, their social development. what we talk about, ability to perform functional daily tasks, movement, mobility, and their access to learning. That kind of a situation we have. That kind of all of that comes under them. Sometimes a child with a physical disability may also experience other conditions or other disability, just like what Rosemary Edu was telling us dump and dump. I gave a simple example, an exam question some other time, and sometimes I'd like to repeat exam conditions like that. That one Tewasi Oche Audu of Gado Villa in Makurdi, Benue State is deaf, dumb, and is obese. So with obesity, leading to what we call cirrhosis. And how can that kind of situation, how do you be able to embark on rehabilitation? In rehabilitating somebody that is deaf, is dumb, is obese with what, and then it's also involved in substance abuse. In that kind of condition, as we move further in that, we will be able to answer questions like that. We want you to solve physical issues, physical problem in the community, making sure that everything moves on and go on very well. We do look at but sometimes, example like cerebral palsy, a group of disorder. For those of you that have covered some, we are talking about the Benue State University Teaching Hospital. They are trying to institute a care center. That care center has to do with rehabilitation with this kind of children we're talking about, some of the situations we're talking about, and some of them. And then as we move further in this course, we'll be teaching you how all you need to do is that sometimes it's just about inpatient and inpatient treatment or rehabilitation. How all you need to do sometimes is what we call community-based rehabilitations. Example of all of that. Yeah, Unisa, I can see your hands is up. You want to ask a question before we get into example or contribution?
Yeah, I want to ask a question.
Yeah, okay. Unisa Bukun John, go ahead.
My question is, someone who is deaf, dumb, at the same time blind, is it possible for that person to go through learning?
Oh, it's a very, very simple one. It's a very good example. That person could be contributing to more to the economy. It could be contributing more to the society more than you. I used to be on a different thoughts with that kind of situation. I used to think like that. I used to, until recently, sometimes I'm like Thomas, or Thomas in the Bible, until seeing is believing. When I embark on study tour of what we call the elite study tour in 2023 in Japan, in Taiwan, Hong Kong. It was not sponsored by Cyprus, please, or IPES, so that you know. That was in conjunction with what my research on consultancy that sent me on that studies. I'm thinking this was all by IPES. You will see that people who contribute economy, they'll be more than you. Let me come back and give a very good example, Unisa. When you're coming from Abuja, in Lafia, for those of you that are conversant with Lafia, in Nasarawa State, before you see where the signpost, welcome to Lafia, there is a special school by the left. If you are going to Abuja from Makurdi, if you are coming from Akwanga to Makurdi, it is by the right. Shortly before a bus stop terminal, where anybody traveling to the north, they eat. It's with blue sky and covering all of that. You will discover that, oh, this kind of area, they discover it's very fine. We discover that that place is a specialized school that deals with a lot of issues. They communicate, they contribute, they do everything like you and me in a kind of situation. Let me also give you an example. Even if it's a kind of interpretation, they can understand perfectly, they can read perfectly, they can do some basic thing perfectly, they can make sure that everything is done in such a way like that. For example, let me also give you, if you see that President Muhammadu Buhari is speaking, if you see that the Reverend Gentleman, the Governor of Benue State, Dr. Hyacinth Alia or Mem Alia, you see somebody behind the person is demonstrating, is showing hands, is putting hands, you do all of this. Society has gone past the level that disability is an impediment. It's based on how you invest. We'll be teaching you how that all with disability, they can operate handset, they can go to banks, they can use what we call assistive device, where you have been hung, they can understand almost everything. But you need a chunk amount of money, you need what we call basic training, when you embark on basic training and all of that, investing in that kind of situation is part of the cost. The people will contribute more than you. They will see them using SUV, doing a lot of things. There are also some what we call some site that I will refer you to. You see those kind of people, you see their contribution. I was able to see with my naked eyes, and it took time about more than some part in some part of Asia and some part of Europe on issues of emergency, on issues of rehabilitations, and to equip myself with that kind of situation. And I was able to look at it and say, oh, that is wonderful. Even among the ministers of President Bola Ahmed, I can mention one or two that has disabilities. Yeah, what can I get your questions?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. So I want to add to what you are saying. Where I'm residing, there's a young man that is totally blunt. But what this young man will do, a normal person that you see cannot do. This young man can go to bank, to machine, ATM machine, and operate and bring money out. This young man can operate outside. This young man can climb bike. And the moment you pass his own junction, he will tell you you are passed. But he's totally blunt. Thank you, sir. I don't know the type of education they have went through, but he can do
specialized education. Man is very perfect and all of that, and it works perfectly, very perfect. And that is where it's part of what we call rehabilitation. That kind of training those kind of people have is advanced rehabilitation, and we'll show you how it's being done. Abu Emmanuel, over to you.
Yes. All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll be making a little contribution on what you said or what the last speaker just said. I actually graduated from the University of Jos Plateau State.
Please speak out. I can't hear you very well.
All right, sir. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes.
All right. I would like to make a little contribution, and then after my contribution, a question attached to it. So I graduated from University of Jos, and then part of my course was actually on special education. So one of the places I did my IT when I was in 300 level going to 4 was a place where they make wheelchair construction in Plateau State, just there, north.
Yes.
Then the name of the place was Beautiful Gates. Yes, and then to my greatest, Beautiful Gates. It is being sponsored by a white man from right.
Yes, I've been there.
Okay, sir. Funny enough, the people who are actually in charge of the wheelchair construction are actually people who are actually handicapped. To my greatest surprise, I don't want cutting the wood. I don't want making.
Oh my God!
Yes, and from there was also opportunity to see that they were even making provision on how to customize a vehicle for some persons who don't have legs to drive the vehicles, to make a wheel and everything inside the vehicle. So I think the place in society is really it cannot be overemphasized, sir. Okay,
thank you very much.
Question is that, sir.
Yes.
You said we have types of disability. We have the temporary, we have the permanent, sir. And then when we talk about the disability, we said it's something that will make someone not to fit into the society, to perform, to give in their full performance to the society, right?
Yes. Your question?
I just want to ask, out of curiosity, if my question is, if we have types of disability as temporal and permanent, can we classify death as a form of disability too? Because
no, we will not death as a kind of disability. We will be looking at that very soon. I will break it down for you, and you only swallow it. How are you going to swallow it? I'll show you how to know that this is a disability. I will show you how they have codes, how to make sure that you can be able to look at it. I normally ask somebody, some question I ask, if you are hungry, is that disability, hunger? Is hunger disability? I'll be asking you what kind of question that you know. I'll ask you another one. From what we are hearing so far, Abu Emmanuel in particular, if somebody is a stammerer, professional we call it stuttering. The stammerer, is it disability? We'll be doing with all of that. And when you are able to look at it, my friend Abu Emmanuel, you'll be able to understand that, when you look at it, you know this one is a disability. This one is not disability. That's why we're talking about permanent, we're talking about long, we're talking about life, talking about all of that. It will come out We are just taking it gradually at the periphery, and then we move into so that you can be able to understand perfectly and very well. So I crave your indulgence. I crave your indulgence to just stay tuned, and you will not regret. You also smile home, and you will take this knowledge. It's not just for exam, but you can take it across to be helped. I will also inform you that for most of you in this course that are doing MSc Sustainable Social Development, most of you will be doing practicals, you'll be doing your internship, and they do pay. Your internship, most of you will be in rehabilitation centers. Most of you will be care centers. Most of you will be NGOs that deal with all of this, including issues of emergency, including issues of disasters, the rehabilitation, the work pari passu, and all of that is the better life of individuals, ensure inclusivity, ensure that, the standard of living is improved. And you will be seeing it yourselves, just like you was able to see where you see, where we talk about the one constructing a wheelchair. I fly from Turkey, but particularly from when I'm from Istanbul back to what we call as Malta and Ankara. It was somebody with one or two disability that was able to be. When we got into what we call core 9 back to Tehran, in all of that, it was awesome. Just like I mentioned, I will mention you some precedent, 2 or 3 precedents, but if you want to do justice, Google and check in the history, you will know that, it is no more an issue. And then we'll be dealing with all of that. For more questions, please, we'll be glad to have more questions. You can write them in the chat box. You can ask from there. Your hands can be up. At any time, point in time, we can be able to repeat. We can be able to go back over and over again to make sure that you understand. And that is why we are taking it this way. Now we talk about all of that. Sometimes a child with physical disability may experience conditions or disability. We mentioned an example of them. The next we'll be looking at what we call the effect of disability. What are the effects of disability that we need to talk about? Why do we need to do all of this so that we would have just left them, we just make everything, but we want to rehabilitate them. It has limited access to education. Many schools lack facilities and materials for the students with disability, hindering their learning outcomes. For a developed society, it's giving the utmost concern. It's one of the first, a lot of budget is devoted to that. But here in your village, here in our village, here in our community, here in our local government, here in a state, can you boast of that? Can you be able to categorically tell me in a very clear, in a very crystal terms that, this is the situation. Check your mind, you will be able to talk to me and give us the situation, the curriculum, the model say we should be able to find out from you, and how we can be able to also reject. Unemployment and poverty. The employment for even people that are normal, it is becoming an issue in developed society. What about people with disability? They face a kind of significant barriers to your employment, with unemployment rate ranging 77% among age 15 to 24, and not just only that, 49 for non-disabled counterparts. And a lot of that. Why some also are reject, why we are able to look, these are what others with disability are doing well. Why is it that others that are not doing well in other countries, doing like we have here? We'll look at it, we'll tell you what is all that needs to be done. Inaccessible infrastructure, for those of you that including IPES, including the Joseph Sawan Taka University, including our offices, how many of you in your offices where you have public buildings, transportations, and roads, and they often accessible, making it difficult for persons with disabilities to move around. They have this kind of social stigma and difficult for persons and all of that. And what we call also discrimination. They have also discrimination, the first kind of a negative attitude, stereotype, exclusion from the social interaction. You see some people see them running away from them. They just run away from them. You see some of them perhaps spitting up saliva or spitting out or trying to look down on them, not knowing that, they could be, these people are assets. These people could contribute. If all rehabilitation, if we embark on advanced rehabilitation, we will begin to do all that we're supposed to be, or us as individuals, as the state, as NGO, as being signatory to CRCDs, the convention ordaining all of that. We can be able to look at that. We will now move to, let me call Zasha. Zasha Msuche should be able to explain to me other effects of disability. It should be able to limited access to healthcare and abuse and violence. Zasha Msuche, you read slide point number 5 and number 6, limited access to healthcare, abuse and violence, and explain to me how that affects is the effects of disability on the individual or the people. Is Zasham Sute, or he's just logged in, and he left us. Next, Selim Sute. Is he there? If it's not there, we'll go to Nathaniel Asogo. Nat Asogo, what can you explain the effect of disability, giving point limited access to healthcare, abuse, and violence? If you can be able to explain that, you're able to, it's an interactive class, your hands up, and you'll be able to contribute your calls, giving us even practical experience. We want to look this class to be holistically, every one of us contributing and looking at making sure that everything is moving very well. Who is there that's going to do that? Explain, yeah, Ralph, Teve. Ralph, please. Over to Ralph.
Good morning once again, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning once again.
Thank you very much.
I want to share an experience on the effects of disability. I was an eyewitness to a situation that happened. There was a lady that sat. So one man saw her and was attracted to her. So he came, approached the lady, came and was talking to the lady. So she was with her for a while. So after some time, that lady was waiting for a relative. And when the relative finally came and they were to leave, when the lady stood up, she was disabled, kind of. She was limping. This limping that
yeah, we can hear you, Ralph. We can hear you, Ralph. Okay, seems you have network challenges. Seems you have network challenges.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Ralph, are you still there?
My network threw me out, sir.
Okay. Sharply.
Okay, sir. So when the lady stood up, when the person she was waiting for came and she stood up, she was disabled. She had disability. She was limping, using this limping that you use one of your hand to support your leg. And I could instantly see the disappointment and dismay from the countenance of that man that was talking to her. So I knew very well that was the discrimination set in immediately. And I knew very well that relationship or that discussion was not going to continue again. Thank you.
That is practical function as we heard from that. Very soon we'll be taking attendance for the part of this class to see who is there or who just logged out and just left and is not participating in the class. We look at other effects of disability as depending on others. Most of the other people that you see them with disabilities, they depend on people like you and me, including people who are students like you. Most of the time you see them into classes, you see them trying to look for assistance, one form of assistance or other. They are limited to economic opportunity. They face what we call barriers to economic participation, perpetuating poverty and dependence. They try to look at what we look at. They often lack what we look at face barriers to participation, perpetuating poverty and dependence. They look at what we call inadequate representation. How many people with disability do you have them as councillors? How many of them do we have them as the House of Assembly? How many of them as chairman of local government? How many of them at the State Assembly, in the House of Representatives, in the Executive Council, among commissioners? These are the kind of one of the effects of psychological trauma. You look at that, we mentioned when we're talking about, there was a lot of example. For most of you that are on the platform, on the WhatsApp platform now, you can see that I have dropped a note. This very PowerPoint slide that we are discussing now. If you look at on your WhatsApp group, Masters is there. We look at how it affects psychologically. And before we move into other, in what we call the concept of rehabilitation, before we move it, all we're trying to do was a kind of a preamble. All we tried to do was a kind of prelude to the concept of rehabilitation. But before we move into the concept of rehabilitation, before we'll be taking attendance, because we'll be calling you people, we see that you were able to, we asked Medugu Sailazamanyi. Medugu Sailazamanyi, how do disability affect one? How do that affect an individual intellectual psychologically? How does disability affect individual psychologically or affecting their trauma? We discussed about that before, but we want to hear your thoughts, want to hear your view. Madugu Sailazamanyi.
Thank you, sir. I just logged in, sir. I am having challenge of network since, and I just logged in, sir. I'm just listening.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you for being sincere. It was just a reminder for you that you just log in. I just wanted to remind you that I saw that you just log in. In rehabilitations, we don't embark on somebody's rehabilitate you in thousands. So I'm able to monitor my class from the beginning to the end. We'll be able to know all who is participating, who is keeping mute, who is also trying to all of that, so that we know what we want to do. It's just a reminder for you, and I'm glad you are sincere. People will begin to give you experiences and this and this. I just note down with my pen that I have in the hands here. If you look at the red pen, it's for marks. I award people marks, and some people in my classes some already you discovered that the marks you discovered as far as both courses I take, you know that the person has contributed, has gone very far, and all of that. So we look at that. Yeah, your hands is up, please. Over to you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Chagu, your hands is up. iPhone. Who is your iPhone? Your name is not stated.
I want to give a little contribution.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Chagu, speak out loudly.
I'm not aware of that, sir. Disability. Yes, disability depends on the individual and the environment. Like, for example, I had a friend that taught me how to type. This guy was blind.
Yes,
he was blind. Even himself, he learned how to type when he was blind. So out of that disability, he learned this thing. I was challenged to learn from him. So if somebody feels that he's disabled in one aspect or the other, then he decides to shy away from trying to improve himself. I think that is where the fault belongs to the person. Example, personally, some of you that met me during the exams, you know that I have really good. My eyes are very good. Yes, my eyes are very good. Sometimes in 1996, my friend encouraged me that I was almost giving up. But my friend encouraged me. He was in the University of Jos then around 1995. He told me that there was a blind guy in his class. So I shouldn't give up.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Yes, he said that there was the blind guy in his class, so I shouldn't give up. So from there, I picked up, and then I picked that courage, and then that is how I am moving forward with these same bad eyes that I don't read very well, but I am moving on. So it depends on the individual. If you want to give up, I think that's where the fault comes from you. So environment and the desire to make improvement for oneself.
Philip, just mute your speakers.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate Chaguted. There is somebody with iPhone. Your name is stated, not stated. Your name is just iPhone.
The person with iPhone is Precious Ifan.
Oh, Engine, okay. Yeah, yes. You want to say something, please? Yes. Over to you. Yes. The network is breaking. Precious. Okay, maybe you reject but join back. I'll give you another forum. The network is not clear, so we can't hear you from there. Let me just, before we dive into the concept of rehabilitation, shortly before moving on break, let me give us a reminder and a very crucial notice. This is a fundamental course. This is what we call a world main course. This course is quite very simple to pass. This course will help us. But like we did last semester, we discovered that, that was a welcome ceremony. For this semester, for SST 7804, Advanced Social Standard in Rehabilitation, it's not going to be business as usual. For those who may not attend class, it may not be business as usual. Please pass the information across the governor, and for others who may just, at the end of the day, it's online, they will come and write exams. It will not be. And it will also be business as usual, where we are friends. All of you are my very good friends. You take a lot of your time, you come here, other feel, you are wasting your time. And then when you come, you don't participate, you don't do all of that. It will not be business as usual. It will not also be good that after you are in, you take a lot of your time and you clear your second semester, first semester, but when you come to second semester, you are lagging behind and you are down with one form of impairment or one disability or the other that will maybe needing you to come back again for rehabilitation. It will not be too good. So please tell them we are in a class, we're monitoring, we take attendance. Shortly before we'll be going into, I'll introduce the concept of rehabilitation and then we'll move into this. It will not, and the note is in capital letter. It will not be business as usual. Those who don't attend, those who don't, for other courses we don't know, but for a core course, for like SST 804, Advanced Social Standard in Rehabilitation, is that we don't rehabilitate you in the absentia. You must be present and you must also participate. Tell us how issues should be done. The concept of rehabilitation, we introduce it in the next 5 minutes, and then we'll be going on break to resume. What is rehabilitation? What is the concept of rehabilitation? All that we did is we did about disability, we did about other discussion and all of that. Rehabilitation is a process, not just a process that helps. Look at that definition. Rehabilitation is a process that helps individuals, not just individuals. It's a process that helps government, not just government. It's a process that helps NGOs. It's a process that those with disabilities. Now we took a lot of time talking about disability. You know what is it? We'll be touching it one on one again. And not just disability. Rehabilitation this week covers to help individuals with injury. That injury could be physical, that injury could be mental, that injury could be emotional, that injury or illness. Rehabilitation also helps people with illness to regain their physical. They regain what? Their physical. Rehabilitation will help you to regain your mental. Rehabilitation helps us to what we do not cognitive ability to achieve our maximum potentials. I remember when we started in the beginning, we say rehabilitation is multisectoral, rehabilitation is multifactorial, rehabilitation is multidisciplinary, rehabilitation is also multi, or what it grabs and it covers all of that. So those with cognitive ability, injuries, physical, mental, to achieve your maximum potentials to perform very well and have to contribute in the society. Yeah, let's go back to, I look at the rehabilitation aims to, Engineer Precious, I'll call you back, but let me introduce the concept and then we'll go back as we go, give room for question. It aims to improve the quality of life. Why do we need to do all rehabilitation? Why do we need to take time talking about all of this? All we do is that the Institute of Procurement, Environmental and Social Standards of the Joseph Nwantaka University, as an ambassador for rehabilitation, want us to improve our quality of life. We can rehabilitate ourselves, rehabilitate our children, rehabilitate our wives, rehabilitate our immediate home, rehabilitate our community, rehabilitate our state, rehabilitate Nigeria, and globally, so that we improve the quality of life. The aim also is to ensure that we have independence and participation in the society. We have full participation when we are normal, we are gallant, we are very strong, we are capable, and we don't have any incapacitation. We can't be able to be. Remember that even in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, having review, the issue of all of that are taken in consideration. We will be discussing in line with the Disability Act number 2018. They will be for you to go back and look at that disability. It covers a lot of issues. That document is too large. Well, I'm trying to summarize, make it very easy for you so that you can be. Then you can also consult us outside the classes or email some questions and number. We can be humble all over that. Rehabilitation also is a process to restore. Look at what he's saying now. It's a process to restore the mental and physical ability lost to injury or diseases in order to function in a normal, to make sure that we function in a normal or a near normal way. It is either if you don't function normal or close in a near normal way. We're taking notes of these keywords of key facts, and all of that. In the next 2 minutes now, I'm going to give you what rehabilitation is one of the core, what we call core health strategies, and that of the World Health Organization, to making sure that, and not just of the World Health Organization, even the World Bank, and that is why it's a core area. That's why it's a core cause. That's why the society is moving now. Our causes are moving where the society, it's not just the kind of causes you see normal, but towards what the kind of causes you make sure. Along with promotion, rehabilitation deals with promotions, it deals with prevention of issues, rehabilitation deals with treatment, and it does with what we call palliative care or supportive care. We'll be dealing with all of that. When you see a lot of people talking about giving palliatives, it has brought palliative, government has brought palliative, government is giving this one, all of this. It is a concept under rehabilitation. It is rehabilitation that say, oh, you must be able to give these people palliative, even if they are displaced, even if they are marginalized, even if they are vulnerable, even if they are their constituents, even if this kind of personnel and all of this is under rehabilitation. And that's remind us, we take the last one before we'll be going on break. World Health Organizations will define rehabilitation as a set of measures that assist individuals who experience rehabilitation, a set of measures, all the kind of measures that will assist an individual who experience or who are likely to experience disability to achieve and maintain an optimal functioning in interaction with the environment. That is where we are hoping now for the day for the break. But before we go into the break, remember, let me do a recast of what we have done today. Before I will give room for comments, I will give room for contributions, I'll give room for questioning. Before, for those of you that came late, I will recast of what we did from the beginning. Within 2 minutes for you, we did. All we need to do is that we have introduced our course, SST 804, Advanced Social Standard in Rehabilitation. We did what we know as the basic core mandate, the course, what is expected of a course, how it covers some basic aspect of rehabilitations, community-based rehabilitations. We talk about how this, at the end of the days, we should be able to know. We went further on to look at that if there is any abnormality, except you have abnormality, a challenge, a lacuna, a gap, and basically we'll be able to look at how rehabilitation is wide, Rehabilitation could be social, it could be economical, it could be social rehabilitation, economic rehabilitation, it could be physical. To look into disability, we define disability in terms of impairment, in terms of intellectual capacitation, in terms of all of that. We mentioned various types of disability, ranging from physical, from cognitive. We went further on to look at the type of the causes of disability. We are now trying to look at the concept of rehabilitation, and that is so far what we have gone. Now we give room, if there is any comments, there is any questions, there is any contributions, your hands will be up. If you don't want to, your hands up, you can just chat in the chat box. We will answer you, and then from there, we'll go for a break to resume at the appropriate scheduled time. And I can see that Desmond Tafa Chokura. Desmond Tafa Chokura, your hands is up, please. Yeah, you can just, you have the floor to make your comments, contributions, and we'll be glad to entertain your questions.
Well done, sir. It's kind of a suggestion, sir. As in
Thank you very much.
It's about 40 minutes past 12, so I suggest maybe we should go forward with the class till 1. It's just a suggestion, sir.
Okay, that suggestion has to be democratic. If you are able to do that between yourselves and His Excellency the Governor of this class, Chief Choko Sofanyam, has been able to approve and democratically, and all of you have accepted, I have no objection, and I will oblige. But in rehabilitation, we also want you, remember we're talking about inclusivity. We want everybody's opinion to be heard. We want everybody to make contributions. We want everybody to be on the same page. We want everybody to accept before we mark.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sapma is after Wakia will speak, Engineer Press.
Hello, sir.
Wakia, you are muted.
Hello, sir.
You are muted.
I'm on now. I'm waiting to hear the response from Doc.
What did you say? We didn't hear you.
Doctor has given you the floor to flow. So go ahead and say what you want.
His question that I want to ask.
Go on now. Okay, go on. We're listening.
Okay, let me.
I think Doc is not even online again. He's not even online again. So he was saying if we all agree. For me, I think we're already 17 minutes into our break time. So instead of going for a short break, if he's able to come back in the next 3 minutes, then let's continue with the class and end by 1, so that everybody will go and do their private things. We agree.
That's not a
the
bad
class
one.
normally end by 2 now. The class normally end by 2. So if we all agree, that means we'll take it till 2 o'clock.
No, Tete,
no,
it's
we'll
not
not
till
take
2
till
o'clock.
2.
Since
We
we
have
are
a
going
1
to
hour break.
continue, we stop at 1.
Okay,
The
so
class will
We
stop
are not
at
having
1.
a break now.
It's all right. It's okay.
So we're already into our break. They are eating part of the time. So let's
All right,
just
it's
continue.
understood. It's understood.
Let's continue.
Let's continue
it's
once
understood.
Good afternoon.
Once it is
Continue.
1 o'clock,
Good afternoon,
go
class.
for
Let me throw this
children
question to the
runs,
class.
school runs.
Hello.
Okay, what you are continuing?
Let me throw this question to the class. I'm a little confused concerning this. Well, let me go straight. This if someone that is born with albino or albino, is it a disabled? Because I discovered that any disabled that they normally go with stigma, and albinos in our mix normally they always stigmatize against them. Is it a disabled or what? That is what I want to ask.
Yes, albinism is a disability.
Disability.
It has so many things that affect them. They affect their skin. They also affect their visibility. For instance, they struggle to see in the daytime.
Yeah.
And then because of the kind of skin they have, they even struggle to go out when there is heat or under the sun. It affects them, and then it also leads to cancer of the skin.
The type of food they need to eat too also affect them.
Okay.
What, are you okay?
I'm okay.
Most of them don't.
I'm okay.
Too much salt disturb their skin.
Then, if I may ask again, what are the causes of that albinism? Any idea?
Genetic.
That one you're asking us as medical people.
It's
a genetic problem.
It's a genetic problem that as a result of undersecretion of the myelin sheath. Because there's what we call myelin sheath that controls the black skin color in us. So when there is undersecretion of it, is the one that results to albino. Maybe you can research further.
Okay, Bala, please, can you clarify whether we have black albinos too? Because there are some people who are very black and then they call them albinos.
No, the myelin sheath is the one that makes us to become black now.
Yes, Bala, continue. Tell us, there are some people in Kenya and in Plateau
there is the
that are
secretion
very
of
black.
the myelin sheath. You get it? So when it's over secretion, that's when you become too black. Under secretion is the one that makes them to become albinos.
Okay.
Okay, so the over secretion that makes them too black.
Become too black.
Hello.
Too black.
The one that makes them to become too black, does it have
It's
any?
under secretion. That's when you become albino.
Okay, so I'm asking particularly for the over secretion where you are very, very dark. Does it have the same kind of effect like the ones with under secretion?
No, it doesn't have effect. So like somebody that I saw that is too black, the only thing we are yabbing him as a darkness, calling him darkness or black as a charcoal, stuff like that. So maybe he too would have been suffering his own, what do you call it, a stigmatization too.
Okay, so apart from this,
but it's unlike the albino stuff. Please, class rep, is Dr. Dr. aware that we are waiting for him?
Out, and we are there discussing. We are wasting our this. He might not know what we are doing.
Our break time, ba.
Yes.
That is why I'm asking. Dr. aware that we are waiting for him, and he will join us back shortly.
I've thrown him out, and we are here discussing.
I think it's better we go for break, come back by 2, because that's what he was even saying. So, I will come back by 1.
Actually, wanted to intervene over this matter.
Now communicate with him.
Bala.
Okay, Doctor is back.
I don't know whether it's my friend Icheme John, or I don't know whether it's Precious that threw me out, Chagu.
Speakers that can you hear me? Explanation on how there are other people, white people, some of them are too white compared to others. I don't know what causes that.
Chagu Ted, mute your speakers.
Okay, actually, sir, we were discussing your absence.
For the technical glitches and what care game that your hands was up, we're trying to put up attendance, and Precious wanted to say something. Let's continue from where Precious. So let's conclude. What care you wanted to say something? Please, let's hear from you.
I've thrown the question to the class, and they're giving me a clarification, but the question still, I will need more from you, Doc. That albinism, is it a disable or what?
You speak up, please, and be louder.
So I was asking whether the albinism, albino,
okay,
is a
fine,
disable.
please. Yes, yes, yes. Whether albinism or albino is a disability.
Sir.
Is that your question?
Yes, sir.
Who can answer him? But to not waste time, albinism is disability. Who explained to him why albinism or dwarfism is disability? It's a very good example of disability. Now, we place them under special rehabilitation. And the chairman of albinism or the president of Albino Foundation in Nigeria is Jack Epele. The president of Bini in Nigeria, Jack Epele, is an associate professor. He's a scholar. He's intelligent. He's not just a millionaire. He's a multi-billionaire. His name is Jeff Epele. Go and check, just Google. You want to know much about Albinism Foundation? Albinism, just Google and check who's Jack Epele, and you will be surprised that, oh, Jack Epele, the chairman of the Albinism Foundation, in terms of intellectual prowess, in terms of contribution to the society and everything, he's ahead of Dr. Terran more than 100 times. Thank you very much. Any contributions on that? Yeah, Precious, you wanted to say something very important. Engineer Precious, let's hear you out, and we'll try to call one by one who is here, and we'll know whether we are continuing with our cautions or comment contribution, or we are going for the break.
Okay, so sorry, sir. I have agreed that we are going to continue till 1 o'clock.
Okay, we agreed that we're going to continue at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
very
so
good enough. Say something.
My suggestion is that we continue till 1, sir.
Okay. So we will move on. We continue with our basic contributions, just like we're saying. We will stop at the World Health definition. We're looking at World Health definition of rehabilitation as a set of measures. There are various sets of measures. They are not just one measure we embark upon, but they are very big one set of measures that can assist individuals who experience or who are likely to experience disability to achieve or to maintain optimal performances and functional interaction. And I go back to Ajaka Godwin Sunday. Bala, let me go to Bala. Bara Ibrahim Damagaji. Bara Ibrahim Damagaji, please read the definition of World Health Organization. In some exams, I asked that question. I said this define rehabilitation according to the World Bank and discuss and critically discuss or analyze. So we want you to look at the definition of World Bank as we have it on the slide there. Read it and explain to us what you understand by that definition. Balada Magaji, over to you, please.
Based on the definition,
if Bala is not there, Bala,
I'm here, sir. I'm here. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, based on the definition, it said rehabilitation is a set of measures that assist individuals who experience or likely to experience disability to achieve and maintain optimal functioning in interaction with their environment. Now, based on the definition, it said that, or it's trying to say that people that have experienced disability, now in rehabilitation, we tend to help them so that they can be able to overcome that disability and be able to function well and interact very well with their counterparts and also with the environment. That's to be able to practice or do that which the normal people or people without disability does in the environment, and also relate very well with the environment. I think that's just what I could say, sir, because I come in late But that's the little I will contribute, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bala. Before we go back to Jiba, I want to state also, we want to go back that anyone with health condition, anyone, underline it, anyone with a health condition which experience some form of limitation. If you are anyone, if you are experiencing any form of limitation, for on the cooler or say, please mute your speakers. Or say for on the cooler, you are disturbing our class. Mute your speakers. Balam, mute your speakers as well. You finish your contribution, Balai Ibrahim. Before we come back to Jiba, we are stating that anyone with a health condition or anyone who experience some form of limitations in functioning, such as mobility, such as vision, such as cognitions, may need rehabilitation. So who may need rehabilitation, we may be discussing. We just started. That is first point of it. That if you are anyone that's with condition that experiences some form of limitation, any form of limitation in the functioning, such as mobility, such as vision, such as cognition. Cognition has to do with the brain, the neuron, neurological disorder. All of that may need rehabilitation. You will take note of it. Rehabilitation is best characterized through the use of what we call biosocial, what we call psychos. Bio has to do with model, the use of intervention that address impairment, activities, limitations, and participation in restrictions. If anything that has to do with activities that limit or participation, you have a kind of limited restriction. Considering the contextual, we talk about the factors, both personal and environmental, including assistive technology, the impact of functioning, that kind all of that may need or we have to do with rehabilitation. At the facility level, or how do we call at the program level, at the facility, that facility may be a hospital in rehabilitation here. That facility may be what we call even
I think those network needs rehabilitation. It's up again.
It's network.
The network is bad today.
Okay, so I also noticed that 4G is not working so well. So if it's not working, go to your settings and you change it to 3G. That's how it's working for me now. So you can also try it on your phone.
He's back.
Yes. Yeah, successfully rehabilitated his network.
Your mic off.
No, it's not.
Okay. Your mic I'm hearing my voice. Yeah. That means everybody's hearing you. It's working.
Can you hear us? Hello, sir. Can you hear us? Immediately silence, please. Okay.
Yes, fire.
Fuck your mic, sir. Jigba. Mr. Jigba, please fuck your mic. Kindly rehabilitate your mic, Mr. Jigba.
I mean, read to me.
Yes, your mic was on and I was calling your attention to kindly rehabilitate it so that
Sorry, I didn't notice
not
it. Sorry. Are we still in there?
Jingba, we are here.
Class rep, good afternoon. I beg, waiting to happen.
Also, when I what thing happen?
We are talking about various forms of rehabilitation, and preventive rehabilitation. Are we together?
Yes, sir. Together. Together, sir.
Yes, sir.
We're looking at Lucas. We have a lot of glitches today, technical glitches from my end here and from you. From the various forms of rehabilitations, just like you talk about mentioning, we look at that. We are talking about preventive rehabilitations. And we say preventive rehabilitations occur after a new diagnosis or onset of a new impairment. And we'll go back to Abu Sesu. Abu Sesu, read what is known as preventive rehabilitations and explain to us your own understanding about it. Abu Sesu.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I'm with you, sir.
Yeah. Read the slide and explain what you understand by preventive rehabilitation.
Preventive rehabilitation
occurs
shortly after a new diagnosis or onset of new impairment, The aim is to provide education, advice, and interventions to prevent or slow onset of further impairment and maintain a person's level of ability. This is a common form of rehabilitation. Sir?
Yeah, we can hear you just a bit louder.
Sir? This is a common form of rehabilitation in long-term conditions such as cancer, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, diabetes, and many.
COPD. We understand with you that you're not a professional. Cancer, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases,
diabetes, and many neurological conditions. It also underpins. Yes. It also underpins supported self-management and can include interventions aimed at maintaining function for as long as possible. Hello, sir.
Yes, what's your understanding about in a layman? Just pick up your mind. What is your understanding about preventive rehabilitation? That looks like an exam question.
Preventive rehabilitation. Yes. To my own understanding, preventive rehabilitation is setting in place certain things or strategic. Hello, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you. We are together. Okay, thank you from your end there, Abu. Busu Kumaden. Busu, please, what is your understanding about preventive rehabilitation? We want everybody to get it from here. That is when you don't get it from here, you begin to have the issue. So we are taking it at a very small pace. And you give us example of preventive rehabilitation. Busu Kumaden. Before I come back to Nkem Akolan Ozoma.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Hello, can you hear me, sir? Hello, sir. Can anyone hear? Okay.
Yeah, Busu, go ahead, Kumaden.
Okay, preventive rehabilitation, just like we just said, it occurs shortly after.
Go on, we can hear you.
Okay, sir. Preventive rehabilitation is like a standard in which certain diagnosis found. For example, maybe you you are diagnosed with symptoms of blindness, and then they set up, there are measures that can be set in order to prevent it not to go further, but they can just make provisions for maybe glasses for you to help you manage the situation so that it won't damage further and then escalate and then become something result to blindness or something. But it can just be prevented at the minimum level, at that initial level, so that it won't go further. That's my take, sir. Hello?
This network today is something else.
The net is really working us to do.
I'm telling you.
Situation. Eventually, I don't know. The speakers will mute.
Time they have
The
used
system
to
will go
need to
off
cool down.
itself. The network is so poor here, so the system goes off itself and mutes the speakers, and we need to log in back again. When you log in back again, before you know, the slides of everything goes off, the network glitches, and then when you out, the speakers goes off with the video. So when we talk about preventive rehabilitations, the basic aims for you is to educate, you advise, and then you intervene and prevent, or you slow down the onset of further impairment. That is the work you are expected to do in rehabilitation here. And we give example like cancer, or we give example like diabetes. How do we educate people about diabetes? How do we prevent people about issues like cancers? How do we advise them? Sometimes it has to be with diet. That is what we are discussing about. We have to be with issues like obesity. How do we do about it? Sometimes we embark on people to embark on routine exercise to be able to do some. We could be, just like we see from the pictorial here, we can be that, oh, all you need to handle your situation is just massage. You maybe massage, get a very good one, very powerfully, and then you maintain the kind of person's ability. This is common form of rehabilitations. It is a long-term conditions for most issue. All you need to do all of that is to slow down the onset of their further impairment of diseases or situation. It also underpin what we supported by self-management and can include intervention aimed at functioning as long as possible. We can see from the pictures there. You can see from the situation there where professionals, this is in the hospital, trying to make sure that all of you should be able to know, by now you should be able to know how we can be able to, other forms of preventive rehabilitation is could mark an issue of sexual transmitted diseases, could be the use of what we call that, the use of what all these issues like condom, make sure you use. For polio, you embark on some vaccine, take in terms of you are being immunized, making sure that you prevent some certain diseases, you prevent some certain condition, you prevent some certain ailment, or if you cannot prevent, you slow down if you cannot be able to. So we're expected, write down, including ourselves, how you can be able to consume some certain level of things. Then we'll look at restorative rehabilitations. Restorative rehabilitations have to do with, restoring rehabilitation focuses on intervention that improve impairment, such as muscle, strength, or respiratory functions or cognitive impairment to get maximum recovery of functions. This is a certain conditions that we can be able to make sure that all we need to do is common forms of rehabilitation after surgery. If you have had a surgery or a lady is pregnant and has given birth, you need to restore, needs to go back to normalcy. Illness or acute event, such as major, even if you are traumatized, you may need to be restored. Other issues like stroke, if you look at that example, sometimes it's based on drugs, sometimes it's based on some certain instruction from professionals that you're giving on how you can be able to restore, and one can be able to perform maximally efficiently. You should be able to know the difference between this kind of rehabilitations between one another, because as soon as they start, they may be as very good example. Look at from the pictorial, this is kind of restorative rehabilitations, trying to put institution, trying to put in place to rehabilitate and help individual. There's also what we call supportive rehabilitation. In that kind of situation, where we are trying to embark on supportive rehabilitation, we embark on certain situation, or you do some certain issues, we make sure that in supportive rehabilitation, increase the person's self-care ability, not just self-ability, apart from self-care ability, we make sure that we use methods such as providing self-care, self-devices, teaching people what we call compensatory strategies in alternative ways, how to can be able to move. Look at that picture very well. The person is on clutches, is embarking on how he can be able to move, how he can start gradually. Even among children, we embark on supportive rehabilitation. They may include also a provision of assistive equipment or environmental modification. Know also very well that we can combine one or two forms of rehabilitation in one. It could be preventive, selective, and supportive for a situation, depending on the kind of situation we find our client. It depends on the kind of situation we find the person in. It depends on the kind of situation and then the individual is undergoing. This is sometimes referred to as adaptive rehabilitation. Adaptive rehabilitation in such a way that one has to, somebody that was moving with comfortably has to move with his own wheelchair, will be using clutches. Aside from using clutches, that kind of person will be using wheelchair. Sometimes you need a stick to move on. That kind of person needs what we call supportive rehabilitation. And in that kind of situation, we may just decide to say adaptive rehabilitation, just like we deal with the issue of adaptive management. Adaptive in such a way that we are trying to, all we are trying to do basically is that to adjust, not just adjust, we are trying to adapt a kind of situation. A new situation we find ourselves in is a kind of adaptive rehabilitation. We should also be trained to know, we don't know anything, we should be able to know all these concepts. They may pop up, they may be up. Palliative rehabilitation, just like we talk about using palliative in all of mentioning them. We can be talking about, should be able to know their differences. The use of palliatives, people with life-limiting conditions, to lead a high quality of life, physically, psychologically, and socially, while respecting wishes. It often focuses on relieving symptoms such as pain, such as dysphoria, edema, preventing contractual, what we call contractual assistance, or psychological well-being, relaxation, the use of what we call assistive device in order to maximize, in order to functional independence, in order to support, in order to have dignity and improve the quality of life of individual. So depending on the kind of situation, if you move to Plateau State, if you move to Borno State, you are in Benue State, and there are kind of some situation you're on the feet, you move to somebody's house, you should be able to know the kind of rehabilitation you are marked upon. You may be also, as an ambassador, as expert, masters in this course, we may just decide to give you that this person is embarking on what we call is deaf, is dumb, is with a highly issue with substance abuse or abuse, or what we call obesity. In that kind of person, which kind of rehabilitation can the person be? And what are the reasons? You should be able to tell us cognate reasons and how you can be able to embark on that kind of rehabilitations. So we look at that level, we pin it from there, and then we'll give room for caution. We give room for a lot of suggestion. We give room for comments, despite having a lot of glitches for that section before we'll be able to round up and make a lot of issue. And over to you, Agaba Azik, who didn't speak on Lima, Rosemary Edu, who is still consistent in the class, Komaden Unisa Ibikum, Yaju Tokwasi, why others are disappear. You great ones are still here. And I give that
I'm
to,
still here. I get that Sylvia is here too.
Yeah, we'll give it to Jiba.
I'm here
Abu
too.
Sesu Simeon is here too, sir.
Togo
We have
Mata
not
is
gone
here
anywhere.
too,
We are
sir.
still
Normal
here.
chair is still here. I've not gone anywhere.
You can see your hands up. We
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Question, sir.
Jiba,
My
ask your question.
is, you talk of disability and rehabilitation. So is there, yes, sir, this is how my question goes. You're talking of disability and rehabilitation. So is there every rehabilitation, is there every disability that we rehabilitated? That's my simple question, sir.
Thank you very much. If you look at what we just say, a concept of rehabilitation, we talk about preventive, we talk about restorative, we talk about palliative, we talk about prevention, and we say, I repeat myself again, Jiba. So we all, depending on the situation, some rehabilitation, we embark on them only to slow down the situation. Some rehabilitation, but all comes depending on the situation. All we need to do is that we cannot stop that disability. We cannot be able to prevent it, but we can slow it down. We can make you better. You will become a better person and be able to improve yourself. To not wait any further question, all form of disability, depending on the situation, can be rehabilitated in one way or the other using different type of rehabilitation. Some kind of rehabilitations are social, some are economical, some are health, some are education, some are counseling, some kind of rehabilitations are kind of rehabilitation that will be community-based rehabilitation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, we'll be glad to entertain many questions as you can come up or with your questions, comments, contributions. Is 1 o'clock. Before work again, get your question, please, or comments or contribution.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir,
good afternoon.
Sir,
yes,
my question again. You when you were discussing concerning the disability,
yes,
you get mention of people with disabilities suffer mostly at home, and I'm confused. Why must they suffer mostly in their homes?
Thank you very much. In the course of movement, in the course of challenges for life, in the course of where they are, let me give you, for example, for most individuals, like the elderly persons, in the where I mentioned there, I mentioned specifically that the elderly persons, and in the elderly persons, if you have elders in your community, if you're in your village, in your many situation, what we do, we're dealing with standard. They are left at home. Check now, most of you are in the offices, the elderly persons, the mama, the papa, the music one are there at home, waiting for you to come back to contribute. If you move to the farm with all of that, sometimes the care, what we call caregiver, is not there with them. And they have their standards to do. If any person is in disability, you have to take a very special care for them. Make sure in terms of food, in terms of clothing, in terms of money, even when you get your money at home, in terms of what we call financial rehabilitation or alert or economic rehabilitation, you focus basically on yourself. And such kind of persons suffer more in what we call at home. And in some situations, not just at home, they suffer also in different what we call caregiver or care center, which we'll be dealing with in what we call specialized center. In a specialized center, in the developed society, which we'll be studying very soon, those people that keep in what we call, they are called special people in a specialized center. They are giving food 3 times a day. They have their allowances very well. They are taken care of in terms of hygiene, in terms of water, in terms of sanitation, in terms of also embarking on their basic life. That's what we talk about. Suffering at home, in a home that has been battered with the challenges already. In that kind of home, a lot of people, some are also depending on others. Thank you. I hope your question is answered. You can still go further if you're not answered.
Thank you,
go
sir.
back to Jennifer Chekwa. Jennifer Chekwa, your hands is up. Emmanuel Tete, we are coming to you. Oh, and Manasseh Anongochia, please ask as many questions as you can. We want to discuss rehabilitation. Jennifer Chekwa.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good. Go ahead.
Okay, so looking at the forms of rehabilitation that we have discussed, I'm wondering, for an individual who is suffering from an intellectual disability, which of these forms of rehabilitation can be given to the person?
Who can answer that question? Somebody who is suffering from what we call intellectual disability. And Jennifer Chekwa, thank you for that question. Those are my kind of questions that I ask in exams. And they are very good in the sense that you can easily pass, you can easily fail. So in rehabilitation, why you must think outside the box. And that is my kind of question. I may not ask you what is. I may not ask you define this. I may not say this and this, or state forms of rehabilitation. I will give you a condition, just like Jennifer Chekwa has asked. Somebody with intellectual incapacitation, somebody that cannot comprehend very well, somebody that some people refer to them in a slogan as Olodo. If you are Olodo, you have them. For children, they call them. Somebody's on how can you be able to improve them to be very sound like Gwakia Game, to be very sound like Tete, to be very sound like Manasseh Anongochia, to be very sound like my friend Ocheme? How can they be very sound like Samuel Omoya? Which kind of rehabilitation would you give them? Remember, we talk about palliative, we talk about supportive, we talk about preventive, and we talk about which kind of rehabilitation is that? And if you are giving me the reason, tell me the reason why it is so. And who wants to answer that? Let me go to Gwakia. Gwakia, you say you want to answer that question.
Yes, sir. For me, it's I would choose a supportive rehabilitation.
Supportive rehabilitation. What are your reasons?
Yes, sir. When you support, you guide the person, and the person will pick it up.
And thank you very much.
With the kind of, let me say, with education, you educate.
Yes.
You support them. You
with
guide
education
them as well. Yes, sir.
It could be retentive memory. It could be learning. It could be arranging some lesson, repeating the lesson. It could be teaching them how to use computer. It could be the use of what we call engaging on some assistive technology, interpretation. They are able to break down. It could be embarking on showing them how to use what we call Google AI, showing them how to pronounce, how to be a lot of that. Remember, if I give him in any example, if I give him in a very good, all of that, you must be able to state reason. And the reason must be accompanied. It could be able to look at the condition. The foundation of that person is that his primary school, his secondary school is not good. It could be that he's still working in the office. He doesn't have time for research. It could be that this person doesn't have time for notes. So you embark on that kind of situation. Now remember, this is a very good course. And if I'm the one, I will give my very good friend, Gwakia Gemga, I will give him a very sound marks for that. A supportive kind of rehabilitation. Who also want to make some comments? Let me go back to Rosemary Edu. Rosemary Edu, your hands is up. Your hands must be up. Ask as many questions as you want concerning all of this. We'll discuss them. We'll break them into pieces, and you will appreciate the course. Rosemary Edu.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay,
good afternoon.
I think for me,
yes.
Depending on the question that Jennifer,
yes,
I think.
Can you speak up, please? Your voice is voice out. Increase your volume.
Reason why I. Okay, sir. I said for me, I would go for restorative and supportive rehabilitation. The reason why I'm going for this is one, for restorative, you're trying to fix what maybe was there and the person is having issues with, or you're trying to teach the person what the person should know. That's why I will go for restorative. And for supportive, as you're trying, yes, sir.
Clap for yourself. These are the kind of answer was. I was going to challenge and ask that question. Is it only one kind of rehabilitation that you use in that kind of situation, or you will diagnose further to find some more solution and give some certain reason? So I appreciate you for recognizing that and making useful contributions and all of that. And remember, we say, even that is why we say rehabilitation can be multi-sectoral, multidisciplinary, and could be what we call factorial, involving different methods combined to better our life, ensure inclusivity, and appreciate improving the standard of it. Tete Emmanuel, it's like you want to answer a question. When we are done, we'll come back with Manasseh and Ongochia.
Yes, sir.
Tete Emmanuel.
It's all right, sir. So I want to get a little clarification on the concept of rehabilitation, precisely on WHO definition, which is the definition is the definition of rehabilitation here is as a set of measures that assist individuals who experience or are likely to experience. My question now, sir, is this: who are those people that are likely to experience this rehabilitation, sir? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. In rehabilitation, Tete Emmanuel is asking us that kind of definition. We explain to him who. He said those who will experience one form of what we call injury, disability, and all of that, and process to. But also we went further to say, in rehabilitation, those who are likely to. That's the one to experience rehabilitation. Who are those people? These are people that for social. For economic, you call them caregiver. Less in terms of communicable diseases, the person is treating or helping someone, his parents, his individuals, and all of that. That kind of person, sometimes if that communicable disease can be transferred to the person, to another person, you make sure you take care of that person. Also, in terms of economy, sometimes it drains. We're embarking on social or what we call supportive. In terms of empowerment, we call that empowerment rehabilitation. And Emmanuel Tete is the one taking care of Dr. Teran. And by the time he's taking care of Dr. Teran, and it's likely that, he's almost going down. His economic situation is going down, he's worsening, and he's rehabilitating others. Just like you see some of them, humanitarian agency, we call them, many of them, we have agents in rehabilitations, we all work with them. Pari Pasu, we must talk of the Okankurus. I mentioned them. We talk about all of them helping us to rehabilitate the Oikwandis. We talk about the very dark men, or the what we call Vincent Ote. Such kind of people, including doctors yourselves here, just like IPES here, because they are helping, they are our agents. We are rehabilitating others. We also rehabilitate them so that they cannot also be down with others. We are able to rehabilitate them so that they can stand firm. They can contribute. If you don't be able to, they cannot be able to give. You cannot give what you don't have. We don't want a situation whereby everybody will collapse, Emmanuel Tete. Because you are rejigging, you are helping, you also should be supportive in a one way to continue with a very good job. And the aim is to ensure inclusivity. It's to ensure social cohesion. Not just social cohesion, it's to make sure that, we have a very standard quality of life and development. We'll move to Manasseh and Ongochia before we come back to Jennifer Chekwa. Manasseh and Ongochia, your hands has been up.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Mine is to appreciate the work you have done so far. Initially, when you started, sir, when you said about 50 or more % of Nigerians are with disability, that thing hit
that
my
they need
brain.
rehabilitation.
I was like, yes, I was like,
You were very surprised.
You be saying yes, but with your explanation and everything. In fact, even the 50%, I think, is an underestimation. Probably 80 to 90% of Nigerians will really need help. So I appreciate this course
we call it rehabilitation.
Yes, we seriously need
the whole of this program that IPES is doing is also part of rehabilitation in terms of education and in terms of awareness.
Thank you so much, sir. We are grateful.
Thank you. Okay, well, let's go back to Jennifer Chekwa. Jennifer Chekwa, please, your hands has been up. We want more questions, more contribution, and more issues.
Thank you, sir. I only wanted to add to what you said regarding the question Tete Emmanuel asked, as who is likely to experience a rehabilitation. When we were discussing the causes of disability, we made mention of malnutrition and undernutrition. So for a child that is born malnourished is also likely to
a child that is born malnourished.
Yes, can also to be rehabilitated. Thank you.
Yes. That child that is born malnourished, that child that's born with some certain issue, that has a lot of disorder, that has a lot of impairment, or has a lot of issues that are of normal situation, including weight measures. We have specification and standard for child. A normal child should be able to weigh 3 kg or 4 kg. If it does not measure up to that, we embark on, I will tell all of you, prenatal rehabilitation. I think you students are just taking me fast, and but I love that very much because you're inquisitive to know. I have one question I used to ask, and the exam question goes this way: who needs speech rehabilitation? Who needs rehabilitation? It's a question, and as blank as that may sound, or anyhow, we begin to do. And very soon, we will be discussing that. They will tell you who and who need rehabilitations, why this person needs this kind of rehabilitations, and that the child comes in, and all of that, including the elderly, including all kind of situation and further out. We'll be able to lose a lot of that, and we look at that. I want further comments, further contributions, further issues that we can be able to diagnose, be able to give therapy, we can be able to treat, and all of that. Yeah, let me go back to Abu Emmanuel. And 5 a.m., when are we supposed to stop our class? You know, we have some glitches so that we know. For myself, if you say we should want to go issue of rehabilitation from here, from morning to the night, from beginning to the end, I will be glad, I will be smiling, and I will appreciate the situation. I will have no issue with it. Abu Emmanuel, your hands is up.
Thank you, sir.
Some of us cannot be rehabilitated again.
We have. Yes, sir. Sir,
Abu Emmanuel,
I don't know.
Please, you have the floor.
Yes, do we have anything?
Very soon we'll be coming to an end. I understand.
Do we have anything as spiritual rehabilitation?
Do we have what?
Anything as spiritual rehabilitation?
We call that in rehabilitation, we call it community rehabilitation. CBR, community rehabilitation. In community rehabilitation, we have not started dealing with it. By the time we begin to dissect, we will begin to tell you how they use what we call indigenous knowledge, how they are able to use indigenous knowledge, using their cultural differences, using what they learn from their parents, using from generation to generation, and they are able to solve a lot of situations. It is not called spiritual, but it is called CBR. And if you want to know further about community-based rehabilitation, just a click. Just make a click on even your Google, on all of that, your information. Even if you use a 16 II, you will have enough, and we'll use different form. And we'll tell you our perception about it when we get there, and what it actually means, and whether it's accepted, whether we can use traditional, including the use of traditional medicine, or whether it's a standard, or whether it is wrong, and all of that. Thank you very much, Abu Emmanuel. More questions, please? We want more questions. If there are more comments, more questions before we try to, we'll be running up for today. We're able to do. If there are more questions, Pine Sewesi. Is there any Jemima? Any more questions? Tongu Mata Sewesi. Yeah, top up so. Any questions, any contributions? Manasseh, any, let us know so that we can be able to do with that and we handle it. We will begin our rehabilitations and we begin to do a lot of what we are expected to do. If there's any further questions, any comments, Desmond Tafa Chakura, yeah. Jennifer Chekwa, your hands is still up again. We can accept you 100 times. You have the floor.
What else, sir? No,
yeah,
that is no longer
much.
a question. I just wanted to appreciate you for the lecture, because before now, anytime I hear the word rehabilitation, my mind goes to anybody suffering from mental disorder. But from today's lecture,
that is
so
right.
I just want to, yes, appreciate you for the knowledge. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Jenny. Jenny, thank you very much for that. Nathaniel Asogo, if there's many questions, Medugo Silas Amanyi, my friend, please, if there's any comments and there's any contribution, we are trying to round up for the day. Uma blessing, if there's any question, please don't hesitate. Don't keep quiet. Yunusa Ibukun John, if there is any all of that, we can be able to do them. Chokosu, Fanyam, are you there? Chokosu.
We are here, I'm here, sir.
Please, Chokosu, take attendance. We take this issue seriously. Call the names of those persons that are available. If the person is in, before we go into assignment, I want to move to show you assignment now. So, Your Excellency, the governor, please, sir, please take the attendance now. Call the names of those people who are in the class. We are more serious this semester, at least for, yeah. If you are called, you say present or you are around. Chokos, please. And we're giving marks for it.
Okay. Okay, sorry, sir. Please, can Desmond do that on my behalf? I'm
okay,
in a noisy place, so I might not be.
Okay,
yes.
In a noisy place. Desmond, can you
sir.
do that for us? Oh, Jato.
Right.
Jennifer Jato, can you do that for us?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Jennifer, go ahead and check attendance before we give our assignment.
Okay, sir. Abu says so.
And when I finish, I'll tell you this type of rehabilitation we want to do here.
Abu says so is present.
Present, sir.
300.
Richard. Igira Richard.
Present.
Jato Jennifer.
Present.
Medugu Silas.
Present.
Topaf Teso.
Watch around.
Pine Jemima.
Present.
What's a Paul?
What is it?
Present.
Uma Blessing.
Present.
Abu James. Abu James.
Abu James. Abu James is not there. Go ahead.
Ageda Sylvia.
Present. I'm here.
Bala Ibrahim.
Present. I'm here.
Mamu and Anastasia.
Present, Anastasia.
Desmond Tafa.
Yes, present.
Busu Kumade.
Present.
Waika Gemga. Waika Gemga.
Go ahead.
Icheme John Ode.
Icheme
John. Precious Ifan.
Present.
Iwodi Lucy.
Precious Ifan, present.
Iwodi Lucy.
Abu, mute your speakers. Abu says to mute your speakers.
Jigba Austin.
Jigba present.
Manasseh Anonguchia.
Present. Manasseh Anonguchia is present.
Nathaniel Asogo. Ogaba Isaac.
Present.
Olima Juliet. Omuga Angemba.
Present.
Rosemary Edu.
Present.
Samuel Omonya.
Present.
Okay.
Teve Ralph Chokra.
Present.
Dongumata Sewesi.
Present.
Choko Sufaya.
The governor, go ahead, is present.
Ya Juto Kwasi.
Present.
Unisa Ibukun.
Present.
Is there anyone Who has not heard his or her name?
Yes,
Ajaka, Godwin Sunday.
I have not heard my name, please.
Yobe Sunen.
Chagu. You didn't call Chagu.
Ajaka, Godwin.
Sir,
Are you there?
present. Yes,
Okay.
present.
Thank you very much.
here.
Jennifer, please stay on. Jennifer, still stay on.
Chagu is present.
Present.
Abu Aondakula James.
Present.
Chagu Ted.
Present.
Okay, I think that's all.
That's all. Thank you, Jennifer. Still stay on. And before Jennifer will read the assignment for us, let me tell you something, the key. It's very easy passing my course. And not just passing, it's passing with very good grade. It's also very easy for people to fail. And that is why, but I'm always making my point very clear. Very, very clear terms. My own thoughts, my prayers is that you have best forms of rehabilitation to be sound, to be very close and thorough. For those who may think you may not be around and you want to rehabilitate in absentia or without participation, no way at all. Now, this wording that we are seeing as small of a child play have marks, and that is why sometimes it's very easy to fail. That's why it's also very easy that why is it that a lot of people are passing your course? Based on your own participation, there are practical courses, and we want all of you to do well. Jennifer, please read the assignment and tell us what we are supposed to do before we go to a conclusion.
Okay, sir. Okay. Number one,
yes.
Highlight the benefits, limitations, and essential components of a
Richard, please mute your speakers. Jennifer is reading assignment. Richard, your speakers should be,
Number one,
assignment, go ahead.
Highlight the benefits, limitations, and essential components of a successful home-based community and vocational rehabilitation among the vulnerable groups in Nigeria. Number two, Mrs. Doshima Ene Igwe, a 42-year woman from Gboko, Benue State, Nigeria, who suffered a stroke resulting in hemiparesis, was admitted at MSC Rehabilitation Hospital, Mka, has limited mobility, difficulty with speech, and requires assistance with daily activities. Develop a comprehensive rehabilitation plan incorporating appropriate types of rehabilitation therapy.
Good.
Number three, a 25-year-old Tewasi Oche at Otukpo, Benue State, Nigeria, with visual impairments, obesity, and substance abuse disorder, is seeking for employment. Discuss the challenges he may face and potential rehabilitation measures. The assignment is to be submitted 15 days from today.
When is the assignment to be submitted? Please, Jennifer, read it again.
The assignment is to be submitted 15 days from today to the email provided on the screen.
Thank you very much. The other time we like 10 days. And they say, no, we added 15 days. 15 days is 2 weeks. And these questions are issues that we expected and the ambassadors are not to do. Please, in the assignment, the reference you use APA star, APA star, and the APA is American Psychological Association star references. You do the assignment, do them very well, and you submit to the email that is there. Even for others who are not in the class today, tell them we have started rehabilitation and we want to rehabilitate them. They should embark on that. They should join. They should be able to tell us how we can be able to see that number 2. Help Mrs. Doshima Eneigwe. You can look at her age. Or even the 25-year-old Tewasi Oche from Otukpo and all of that, how we can be able to note that those names are hypothetical. And how can we be able to deal with this situation. And just like I always state, those assignments should be taken seriously. It should be done because most of them could be, what could it be? I don't know. It may be also exam question. So we want everybody to be sound. We want inclusivity. We want everybody to jubilate at the end of this program, moving with shared heart and able to rehabilitate our home, our community, our state, Nigeria, Africa, and the global society. Thank you, and God bless all of you. This is where we call off for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much. Thank you. Manasseh
Thank you very much,
Amochia.
sir.
Thank you,
very much,
Ogaba
sir.
Azik.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very much,
Papa
sir.
Teso.
Thank you very
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Rosemary Odu,
Thank you,
thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much. Ose Paul Ondakula.
Thank you, sir.
Gwaki Akenga. Thank you, Unisa Ibukum.
Hello.
Thank you, everybody.
Hello, sir.
Thank you very much.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Chago Ted, thank you very much, Chago. Thank you very much, Chago Ted. Bala Ibrahim Damagaji, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, all of you. See you tomorrow. Be punctual.
Sir, what's the page limitation?
Thank you very much.
The page, the size of the assignment.
What happened?
The size of the assignment.
The size of the assignment. No,
Yes.
it doesn't have any size. You can go ahead and rehabilitate us as small as you want, but you should do something cognate. Remember, in
Thank you very
rehabilitation,
much,
we
sir.
don't joke.
Thank you very much, sir.
We read line by line. We check everything that you do, including the uppers and all of that. But the aim is that we want all of you to pass and pass very well and do very well so that you can rehabilitate others as well.
It's okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. God bless you, my brother. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Iwodi Lucy. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Jato Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer Jato.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Where's Vivian? You don't go borrow. You don't go buy your power bank. Don't go borrow power bank.
Jatu. Hello, Jatu. Jenny. Mother Jennifer. Hello.
Okay, that one. I don't understand that one.
Jatu. Hello, Jatu.
Hello, class.
Hello.
Hello, class.
Yeah, who is that?
Hello, I didn't get the number of page for the assignment. The size of the assignment.
You said see there.
Hello?
You check it through the slide. The slide
Okay. Okay, sorry. Thank you.